Good afternoon, and whoa, okay, hang on. The camera is not working. Okay. Well, that's a fun start. That's why you should check your camera's working before you go. Let me just see if I can sort that out. But regardless, hello and welcome to SkoufCodes. I'm Skoof, and today we're going to be playing around with some fun stuff, and I will tell you more about that as soon as I can fix my webcam. And it doesn't like that. And it does it like that. Ah, there we go. That's much better. Oh, I think there's a bit of a delay on that. Hang on. It doesn't seem to like. There's definitely a bit of delay on that, but we may have to just make do with that for the moment because I think that's the best that I can do. Unless I can change this frame rate a little bit. You can't see any of this, but oh, is that a little better? I set it down to 20 FPS, use buffering. No, that seems to be a bit worse. Alright, well, alright, cool. Let's just go with that for the moment, and I'll hopefully fix that for next time. So, welcome to SkoufCodes. Today we're going to be playing with some Kubernetes. So, last time, if you tuned in, I was setting up what was I doing last time? I think I was messing around with Helm or Ignition or something. I think if I remember correctly, I successfully actually set up my basically a Kubernetes cluster on some hardware that I'd purchased using Ignition, Terraform, Matchbox. It network booted, provisioned into an OS, and it was really slick. In the intervening time, I've done a whole lot of stuff with it. I've played around a whole lot. I haven't been streaming a lot lately. I just didn't get to stream this weekend, unfortunately. I was having a very lazy weekend, but yeah, I'm trying to keep my head straight. I tend to, my natural disposition apparently is head tilted slightly at an angle, which is probably awful for my neck, but that's right. I'll try and sit up nice and straight and keep my head untilted. Yeah, didn't manage to stream over the weekend, but what I did get to do was play around a whole lot with my new cluster. I mean, cluster is a loose term. It's a cluster of one, but yeah, a single instance kube cluster. It could expand. I'm not going to rule that out. I could put some extra devices in, but yeah, for the moment, cluster of one. And what I did is I installed I played around with some file system provisioners. In fact, let me just jump over to the regular. What am I? Oh, there's my scenes. Main desktop view. There you go. You can see my desktop. So this is actually, I think I haven't touched this window since the last time I streamed. So this is what it would have looked like last time. And then if I do a kube control get pods all namespaces now, you'll see the list is probably a little longer if it actually connects. Yeah, a little longer, right? So you see we've got now Rook and Rook system and Plex namespaces. So what I've done is I've used Rook. Rook is a storage provider, sort of distributed storage provider, so you can set up different devices on different machines to provide storage to this sort of Rook file system, which is based on top of Ceph FS. You can see this little Ceph thing in there, and then use that to provide storage to the kube cluster. I did try using NFS, using a Helm provisioner for that, but I didn't get anywhere. Also, all of this stuff has been installed using Helm. For the most part, I've got some small little customizations that I'm including, sort of that I'm just using kube control to deploy manually, but all seems to be working pretty well using Helm, which is cool, and that's actually what we're going to be doing today. Well, sorry, so I did Rook and I deployed Plex, and Plex is actually working, and I mean, you know, look, it took me a while to get there because I had a false start. Like I said, I was using NFS, and Plex really did not like trying to create directories on NFS. I was getting all sorts of weird errors and saying it couldn't make directories, so scrapped that, used Rook instead, and I've had nothing but good things to say. I've got nothing but good things to say about that. It was all pretty straightforward. Yeah, so Plex really was like setting up Plex from, you know, obviously once I ironed out the kinks, from nothing to a fully running Plex server really was that sort of dream. Like the whole point of the Helm project, if you're not familiar with it, is it's supposed to be like an apt, this isn't Ubuntu so it won't actually work, but it's supposed to be basically apt get install but for Kubernetes applications, right? So it deploys everything for you and it's sort of versioned and you can upgrade it and roll back and stuff like that. And honestly, once I ironed out the kinks, installing Plex really was just as easy as a Helm install, pass it some values, and off we go. Unfortunately, it seems like Plex is currently broken. The support for Chromecast is totally stuffed right now, which is not the best, because that's basically what I was going to plan on using it for. But it's nice to have there, and hopefully once they fix that Chromecast support, I'll be casting media from the server into my Chromecast, which would be really fun. So that's what I've been doing with the Cube cluster in the meantime. We've also explored Ingress, so you'll see there's a few Cube system Nginx Ingress controller, Nginx default backend. So that's how you actually access. You can use that to map host names to particular Kubernetes services. So effectively, Nginx is running as a reverse proxy, but running as a pod and as a service. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I've explored it. I've learned a whole bunch about Cube and how it works, which is really interesting. And so what I'm going to be doing on the stream today, and unfortunately it's going to be a bit disorganized. I haven't had quite enough time to prepare as I would have liked. But what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and write a Helm chart. So I've been playing around with Helm a little bit. I'm sort of getting to understand a bit of the internals. It seems like really, to some extent, writing a Helm chart is really just understanding the template language. Right, let's go back to the big camera. I'll do a bit of an explainer. It's really just understanding the template language. It seems relatively straightforward. And then on top of that, actually understanding what Kubernetes resources you need to create. And so I'm going to probably just crib those off quite possibly the Plex chart. Or anyway, I'll have a look at some other charts and see what I can find. That's the beauty of open source, is you can beg, borrow, and steal. But yeah, the idea is that I want to run a little wiki on my server to store information about, where stuff is. I mean, the thing with my home servers and my home sort of network stuff is it always tends to go in fits and starts. So right now, I've got a lot of free time on my hands. I actually just finished up my job yesterday. I'm starting a new one on next Monday. So I've got a few days off. I'm going to be doing a lot of intensive work. I've been doing lots of intensive work, and then I'll probably get busy. In fact, I would be shocked and actually probably upset if I didn't get busy at this new job, because that's kind of why I changed jobs. I wanted to be very busy and learning a whole hell of a lot. And so it goes in fits and starts. And so I usually do a bit of work on it like I am now, and then put it down and don't come back to it for months at a time. Usually don't come back to it until something either breaks, or I need something, or I need to use it, I'd wager when Game of Thrones fires up again, I'm going to want to make sure that this server is working properly and the Plex is working properly. So it tends to go in fits and starts, and what that means is that I tend to forget everything, right? And I think, as I was saying on the stream a few days ago, well, it wasn't a few days ago, it was probably more than a week ago actually. It's been over a week since I streamed. It's not good. There'll be plenty of streaming this week while I'm off. So I think what I was saying on the last stream was that, yeah, you could use it for all sorts of things, but a home wiki, right? And I think I was saying, what I'm going to use it for is I'm going to use it for, documenting definitely the home network and networking aspects there. There are some tricky things I discovered yesterday when I was trying to set up Plex, that I'm actually behind a carrier grade NAT, which basically means that my ISP has plenty of IPv6 addresses and cannot get many IPv4 addresses. So what they're doing is they're using network address translation on their end and translating probably what is an external IPv6 address to sort of an internal IPv4 address. There's a block that's sort of reserved for carrier grade NAT stuff. What that means is that when I talk to an external service and it says this is what your IP is, my external IP is different from the actual IP that I've been assigned by my ISP, right? So what that means is it's very difficult for services to get in. So this specific example here was that Plex requires some connectivity to the internet if you want to use some of its sort of cloud functionality and connect to other devices with it, and it couldn't find my machine because carrier grade NAT. Even when you port forward, there's another level of NAT, right? That's sort of double NATing. There's two levels of translation happening, and you have control over one, and you can forward one, but you can't forward the other. So what that means is that at some point I'm going to migrate my entire network to IPv6, I guess, assuming all the devices support it. I'm trying to think what's on my network that doesn't support. I assume Google Home and Google and Chromecast support it. I'm pretty sure my router runs DDWRT. It's supposed to be configurable and very open and very easy to upgrade, so I would be shocked if it didn't support it. It's just, I did have a bit of a look at the docs last night. It seemed kind of confusing, so I've got to figure that whole out because I've never really done any IPv6 networking stuff before. I've always used IPv4. I know the absolute bare minimum about it. I think I did, there was one electrical engineering unit that I did where we were doing networking at sort of like that we played around a lot in Wireshark. Very good unit. At the sort of like at the, is it the network or the service layer 4, right? TCP. Playing around with you know, throwing and even lower, even at the IP layer, throwing around packets and looking at ARP requests and stuff like that, which was very enjoyable and very interesting. But other than that, yeah, not a whole lot of IPv6 going on, so I'm going to have to teach myself that. But that's exactly the sort of thing where I would set it up once and then completely forget about it, and then it would probably break, and then I go, ah, crap. And that's the sort of thing where, like, maybe you don't have internet for a few days, which is not really good. Not a situation I want to be in. So, home wiki, and I mean, there's other things there. I think I was saying I also would like to actually scan all the manuals, maybe even bills, maybe just pieces of home paraphernalia, you know, stuff like receipts and you know, proof of purchase for products, because what tends to happen, I've got stuff sitting on my desk right now, you can't see it, but what tends to happen is I tend to buy stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll keep the old receipt for this in case I need to return it, and then I never return it. And it just sits there and it takes up space, and yeah, it's kind of frustrating. So yeah, hopefully get rid of that stuff. That's the plan. Cool. So without further ado, I think maybe we should get started. I can't see how many, do I have any viewers? I think maybe I have 0 viewers. Maybe nobody's watching. Well, look, that's right. That's why they say maybe don't look at your viewer count. But yeah, that's right. We'll be fine. All right, cool. Back to the main desktop view. I mean, yeah, you know, it doesn't always have to be about having viewers and having people interested. You know, I'm here, and people can enjoy later on. Catch the VODs. All right, cool. So I went in and I created a repo just before SkoufCodes Helm Wiki.js. So what I'm gonna do is I've actually got I've got a repository, code, SkoufCodes Helm. Oops, no, SkoufCodes Helm. Now these unfortunately are not public, just because I'm pretty sure they've got sort of secrets in there. So I don't quite want to make them public, but I do want to have them here. And so what I've been intending to do is I've been intending to make a folder in this repo, and then cloning the chart into it. Although, yeah, cloning the chart into it, I guess that works. And then having the chart as sort of like a Git submodule, so that I can update this independently of the submodule. So I'm going to make a directory called Wiki.js. And so the way I've been sort of structuring these folders is I've got a README, and then I've usually got a config.yaml, and then I'm actually going to have the clone of the repo. So let me just, oops, no, we don't want to see that. That's just Plex stuff. Too used to switching between desktops. So let's just go git submodule. I always forget how git submodule works. So git submodule, if you're not a Git guru, that lets you basically check out a repository as part of your existing repository, right? I think that's how you do it, or is it git? Yeah, working with submodules. Yep, that's what we want. So git submodule add. Cool. So we want, oops, again the wrong tab. Here we go. Git submodule add, and then we want to pass the clone address, paste, and we want to put it in a folder called Wiki Helm Wiki-js. Yeah, we should probably match the folder name to that. Cool, it's an empty repo, so it shouldn't take very long to clone. Yep, cool, we're in business. All right, so now we can start working in here. Now the question is, do I need to... Yeah, no, that's fine. Cool. Now we need to actually figure out what the hell the Helm standard suggests about having how to set up your chart, right? So Helm charts. You can Helm docs charts. Bam. It's a slick website, the old Helm website. Ooh, I've got a viewer. Thank you, viewer, for joining. I can just I can just see just down here. I can, you know, where my viewer count is. I can just see that on my little preview of the stream. So I can kind of just make out when it's 1 or when it's 0 or when it's something. Ooh, I just realized I haven't updated the title of my stream. People are going to think I'm streaming random other crap. Alright, let me just do that for a second. Please don't leave, viewer. I'll be back in a second. I'll keep talking to you while I'm doing it. I didn't realize I didn't update the title. Damn, that's frustrating, man. Rookie mistake. Talk about rookie mistake. Ooh, not starting shortly. I'm on a break. I'm on a break, and I'm just trying to... Ooh, unstable. Keyframe interval too high. I'm looking at my analytics in my dashboard. The title of this one is not that at all. The title is writing a Helm chart for Wiki.js on my new Kubernetes cluster. Alright, cool. That'll do. Let's update that information. Sweet. Updated. Cool. Hopefully it says that now. Nice. Alright, back to the desktop view. I'll close my dashboard in the background. Cool. So, chart file structure. Right, you've got the chart.yml, which is metadata about the chart. You've got an optional license, optional readme, and optional requirements, which lists dependencies. That's for sort of dependencies on other charts, presumably. A values.yml, and then a charts folder, which contains... and then templates folder. That's what we want, and then usage notes. Okay, cool. That makes sense. So let's give it a charts.yml, and we'll give it a values.yml. Is it a chart or chart? Charter and values. Presumably they can be... Alright. Let's be nice to a chart.yaml, and the values, let's use the... I'm pretty sure these are interchangeable, but look, you know, you always sort of err on the side of caution. We're going to have a templates folder, and that's it. I think that'll do us for the moment, and then I'll fill in the readme at a later stage. Cool. So the chart.yaml file, well, might as well just copy this bam straight through. Oops. Again, switching to the wrong bloody thing. Alright. So let's edit our chart.yaml. And we'll just paste all that in there. Okay. Name of the chart. So it's going to be Wiki.js. Oops. Well, that was a weird little quirk of the old Vim. Version. 7ver 2.0 version. Okay, well, this is going to 001. Cube version. Okay, now here's where I have to understand cube versions, but description we can go onto that one. So deploys Wiki.js, and let me just grab the address of, yeah, let's grab this, I should probably start calling it Wiki.js, right? Oops, again, the wrong spot. Deploys Wiki.js to a Kubernetes cluster, and let's put in the GitHub URL there. Yep. Cool. Keywords, a list of keywords about this project. Alright, well, let's put in Wiki, JavaScript, JS, repository, yep, we can do that. There we go. Let's copy that. Sources, a list of URLs to source code for this project. That's also the same. And maintainers. Yep, I can do that. Optional, but I'll do it. Skoufus. And skoufus@gmail.com. And let's do skoof.com. Cool. Engine. Yes, the Go templating engine. Okay, that's interesting. So I've learned something in that presumably it supports different templating engines, but this one is just the Go templating engine. Oh, excuse me, very sweaty. It's quite a warm day in Melbourne today. It was very strange. I thought it was going to be 26. I don't know if it actually ever got there. I don't know if it ever got there, but what's interesting is that it did actually rain at one point, so my washing got slightly wet, but that's alright. Icon, we don't need that. App version. Now that, okay, we don't want to deprecate it, and the version of Tiller. Now, the question here is, should I be a dick? Well, I always struggle with these sort of minimum application versions. That app version is fine. I can figure that out. It's the Tiller version and the Cube version, because how the hell am I supposed to know what is what there? Like how am I supposed to know? I guess if you're a really good person, you would go and test this on previous versions of Cube and previous versions of Tiller. But for the moment, I just might grab another prompt. Helm version. Tiller version is 282. Alright, so let's just put 282 in there. 2.8.2. Oh, hang on, it's as that, it's a semver range. Okay, let's go greater than 2.8.0. I mean, that's kind of lying, but presumably you would think the entire 2.8 series, given that the last one is a patch, would work. So that's cool. The app version, let's put a to-do on that. And let's put a... what Cube version do I have? It's probably a way of getting that out of Cube. Version. Yeah, there you go. Server version. v1.10.0. Yep, alright, cool. So let's put that in there. Presumably that's 1.10.10.0. Presumably that's a version range 2. And let's put this in quotes just because it seems like a sensible thing to do. Again, let's put some of these strings in quotes. I don't know if that's necessary, but let's do it anyway. I think these other ones will be fine. Cool, and we to-do on the app version, right? Because I'll get there at some point. Also, thank you to SkoufCodes, who is the latest follower. Is that updating? Let's see, there's a peek behind that. Yes, it is. SkoufCodes is actually my dad. I made him an account and got him to follow me so that he could watch and that he would get notifications when I was live, because he kept bugging me last night about how to do that. But thank you anyway, Bill, even if it actually was my hand pressing that follow button. Ooh, I've just doxed him there. I just called him by his first name. Well, you know, whatever. Would not have been hard to find. Cool. So that looks good for this chart dot blah 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 chart dot YAML. So I reckon we can save that, and we'll do a to-do on that app version later on. Cool. Next things next. I'm gonna have to probably Cube version. Oh, the Cube version is optional, and so is the Tiller version. Yeah, look, maybe I should just leave those out because I don't actually know what version they're supposed to work on. Yeah, let's do that. Let's leave that off, and let's leave that off. There's no reason why we can't do that app version, so that's cool. Alright. Cool. Charts and versioning. Every chart must have a version number. Oh, right, this is information on the chart. Okay. Chart license, readme notes, chart dependencies. We don't need that, I don't think. You can manage dependencies manually. Operational aspects of dependencies. Alright, templates and values. Okay, so Helm charts written in Go template language, 50 or so, template function with Sprig library, etc. Template fields. Okay. Right, that seems pretty straightforward. Alright, cool. So I think we're ready to actually start. So we've got our scaffold, right, which is like, you know, the chart.yaml. The next thing is basically to figure out what services we actually are going to need to define what Kubernetes services, or Kubernetes, not services, Kubernetes resources we're going to need to define as part of our templates, and that'll determine what actually gets deployed to the cluster. So The next thing to do would be to, let's see. Yeah, we're going to use all of these little things in here in order to actually, in order to make sure that our values actually, that our chart actually does what kind of we want it to do, which is like put things in the right spots effectively. Okay, so the next thing, so here's the Wiki.js project, right? Good to see they've got some stuffed badges, but that's alright. Hopefully that means it's okay. And the build succeeded, so that's good. So here are our requirements. That's good. They've already got a Docker image, right? And they've got an example Docker compose. Now that is definitely going to be super helpful. Right, so what are they defining? Ah, yes, right. So they define a MongoDB database. Logging to dev null, that's probably not the best idea, but that's okay. And mounting some volumes. Gotcha. Wiki.js. Right, and that's just their, oh yeah, okay, look, that's pretty straightforward, right? So really just two containers here. Presumably those containers will become pods, right? We'll expose the Mongo container or the Mongo pod as a service that Wiki.js can consume. Yeah, look, that seems pretty straightforward. And then there's a config volume. And where does all the data go? Presumably into the database. But let's just have a look at the quick getting started, whatever. No, we don't want that. Oh no, maybe we do. Getting started, installation guide. So, right, they've got an install script. Okay. Manual installation, configuration, custom port, your web browser navigates blah, follow the 3 instructions, save in the config YAML file, run Wiki.js, notes to stop. Yep, that's cool. Troubleshooting. Alright, that seems pretty straightforward. What we want is I want to understand Node.js Git and Markdown. Oh, does it run its own little... Does it run its own... MongoDB is being phased out. Upgrade tool. Huh. I mean, this could even be a project that I could contribute to. I mean, I could stream that live. Very cool. Special thanks. Contributors. Interesting. Do we have documentation? That would be nice. I mean, they do, clearly. Installation. No, we want database stuff. It uses MongoDB. Used for users and content metadata. Okay. Replica sets and sharding. Probably not going to need that. Git. Cool. Because the documentation you write should always be stored in a safe location, even though databases and file storage can be configured to have backups, costly or ineffective. Storing documents in a Git never makes sense, it's cost effective. You control 100% of your data at all time. Want to modify content outside the wiki, want to transfer content somewhere else. Awesome. Okie dokie, I see. So does that mean that during the configuration process it's going to get you to set up a Git repo? That sounds plausible. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Interesting. Presumably that's what gets set up during the setup, because there's nothing here that says, hey, here's where you set up your Git repo. So that's cool. So presumably that'll be storage inside the container, I guess. I don't see, well, yeah, where does it go? maybe we can sleuth and figure out where it goes. Links to Wikidb depends on Wikidb. Ports, yeah, that's fine. Environment, wiki admin email. Volumes, that's just a config.yaml volume, which is like a local volume that we probably don't need to even worry about, right? It's just going to be, we're just going to let Docker maintain that. And do we need this? Maybe, but that's all pretty straightforward. Done with working with submodules. Okay, so I think I've got a decent idea of how that works. There's a couple of containers, so we're probably gonna have a pod per container. And so now the other thing that I want to do is I want to figure out how other services are doing it. So I know that on kubeapps.com, which is like a Helm repository, there are other wiki apps, and the question is, how are they structured and deployed? Because if I can look at how they're structured and deployed, I can get probably some good ideas for myself. So Fabricator, MediaWiki, DocuWiki. Let's have a look at MediaWiki. Where is your repo? There it is. Cool. Packages MariaDB chart. Ah, interesting. So I guess the other thing here is, yeah, do we have a shared database that we're going to expose, or do we have? And yeah, it probably makes sense to only run one MongoDB instance and share it among different services. So do we actually take, I'm sure there's going to be a MongoDB Helm package. No, that didn't work. Mongo. Yeah, right? So yeah, so you need a PV provisioner, that's fine, we've got that. We can provision some storage. That's pretty straightforward. Image tag, image pool policy, pool secrets, use password, root password, username. Port to bind to for node port service, service type, persistence. Yeah. That's pretty straightforward. Yeah, so perhaps the go is that we use, we depend on this MongoDB star. Why not? No, I gotta be signed in. Okay, fuck that. Yeah, so perhaps we actually depend explicitly on this MongoDB Helm chart, which simplifies our setup, because then we just have to point it to the correct service that this exposes. And then we'll use, because that's what they're doing here, they're using MariaDB as a dependency. So we did hop into their repo. Yeah, here it is. So requirements.yaml. Yeah, okay, don't know what that means, but we'll find out. So you can depend on MariaDB, this particular version. Then, and there's a lock file, presumably, yes, to tell you the SHA sum of what dependency you actually fetched. helmignore.git folder. I should do that. Actually, let's do that before I forget. Yep, just ignore that git folder because we don't need it. And then what do they got in their templates? Curious as to what this helpers is. Interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Alright, cool. On a PVC definition, SVC, what's that? Service. Secrets. MediaWiki full data. MediaWiki password and SMTP passwords. Very interesting. MediaWiki PVC. right. External DB secrets. Oh, very fancy. Right, which we have to specify for the deployments.yaml. Right, that's the actual deployment, which will set up our pods. And then just a little notes.txt. You do not provide an external database host. MediaWiki with resolvable database host. Okay. MariaDB enabled false external database host. Your external database host. Fascinating. And that's pretty straightforward. I don't quite have a proper appreciation for the use of secrets. I mean, I kind of get it, but I mean, I get the concept. Also, oh, hang on, they're all in a giant Kubernetes charts folder. Right. That's how I was like 339 issues for a small MediaWiki chart. Seems a little huge, but that's alright. It's not. It must be for other things. 264 pull requests. Looks like these guys need some help, to be frank. Interesting. Ooh, EBS running on Kube. I should have thought of that. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so we're going to need a deployment. We're probably going to need some secrets. MediaWiki PVC. Yeah. All right. So do we even put the config in a secret? And we rely on MongoDB. And how do we actually specify that? So how do we specify that it's values.yml? There's a value for MediaWiki user, MediaWiki email, allow to password, external database MariaDB, whether to deploy MariaDB server to satisfy application database requirements. Right. Setting the password on first run, create a database user, password, persistence enabled. Yeah, that seems pretty straight. Well, not straightforward, but it makes sense. MediaWiki PVC. Where do we actually define that we're going to spin up MediaWiki? Do we just pull it in? Is it configured on the first run? That can't be. It's got to be part of the deployment, right? Spec template, spec pull secrets, containers. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so presumably it knows on first run how to set up the MongoDB. Okay, liveness probe, volume mounts, MediaWiki data, Apache data. Okay. Alright, if we go back to our little wiki here, you just run, yep, there's a Docker. Let's have a look at our Docker file. No, let's not do that. Let's have a look at the Docker file. Ah, yes, right. So set some env. It's really only one env variable. Entry point node server. Worked out as var wiki. Docker Cloud Azure IBM Bluemix coming soon. Okay, interesting. Alright, I reckon let's take a crack at this. So the first thing I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up a little... I'm going to set up something that wraps this Wiki.js. I'm going to set up a Wiki.js service. That seems like a good idea. Yeah, because we're going to pull in Mongo. Let's just set up Wiki.js and see what happens. Oh, this deployment, if or so if there's no, okay, so it only does this if values.mariadb.enabled. Okay, Okie dokie. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to figure out how the hell this stuff works. Um, because my knowledge is quite shocking of specs, but that's cool. I didn't see any shame in just grabbing all of this and going copy. Ooh, no, not Google search for it. Copy and just pasting it straight into our deployment. Is it deployment.yaml? So we can call them whatever they want. It's going to get templated, but deployment.yaml is the convention. Alright, drop that in there. Cool. So our name is going to be, I see. So they're using, that's what those custom template values are for. And I have seen them before, and they seem like a pretty good idea. What are they actually doing? Helpers, expand the name of the chart. Define MediaWiki.name, default to chart.chart.name.values.name override. Ah, yes. Okay, no. These are very useful helpers. I've seen these before, actually. No, I've seen these helpers before, and they seem super useful. Effectively, what they're doing is they're taking your they're using your the values you specify. If you specify a name override, that's fine, but otherwise, they use this. Yeah, they give you fancy names and they truncate. That's really useful. They're basically, well, I thought maybe they were doing that thing where you get sort of a random, looks like a hash type name, but it doesn't seem like you do. What's in values.name over? Oh no, presumably that's your values.name override, so that you can override the name. Where is it? Values.name override. Okay, whatever. We're gonna take that. We're gonna pinch that little helpers.tpl. I think that's useful. Let's save this, and we'll go underscore helpers.tpl. So presumably the underscore is going to mean it's not going to get compiled. Let's close that and let's see if it'll. Alright, Vim set file type mustache clearly didn't work, but that's alright. Let's go wiki.js.name. Wiki.js.fullname. Wiki.js.mongodb.fullname. Sweet. Except we want to actually change the values in here, right? We want to change that. Release name. Cool. I think that's all the specific stuff we need to do here. Sweet. Okay, so the next thing is, yeah, we want to play with that deployments.yaml. Right, we can change these to be Wiki.js, Wiki.js, and here Wiki.js. Sweet. All that other stuff seems like there's no reason to change it. Now, image pull secrets, we're going to need to change those, but that's fine. Wiki.js.fullname, image. Yeah, look, all of these values we can probably leave the same, right? This is pretty standard. It's these mvars we're going to have to change, and that's cool. I might just leave some of the, well, I might leave some of these in there. Man, this is, yeah, this all makes a great deal of sense, to be honest. That's doing a format string. This is my first time really sort of playing in depth with any of these stuff, and actually, you know how you sort of, you read through these and you understand the bits you need to understand. You know, you sort of look over this stuff and go, oh, I don't need to understand it, I'm not even going to look at it. It's effectively, if you're just modifying stuff, if you're not writing it, you don't need to understand it. It's occupying brain time that could be better spent doing many other things. Now, given that I'm pretty sure I have 0 viewers, I'm going to take a very brief break just to check on my dinner, because I do not want it to burn. That would be most unfortunate. So just give me 1 second, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Alright, and I'm back. In case you were wondering, dinner is looking great. Cool. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sort of... we should probably set up some of these values in Wiki. Yeah. I should probably set up some of these values that we're referencing here. So image.registry. Let's use this cool guy thing. So that is Command P. It's a little thing that lets you sort of split screen Vim windows. Given that we're using Vim and I'm not using an IDE. So stuff like chart.name, chart.version, release.name, release.service, those are not things. It's these values things down here, image.registry, right? I'm actually going to pull up, what does that look like over here? So in values.yml, image.registry, we can basically probably just copy this stuff at the top, right? Pull policy if not, yeah, all of this stuff. Image pull secrets. Interesting. Cool, we can just probably copy this into our values.yml. So our image registry is going to be docker.io, I think. Well, where's this image hosted? If we probably go back to, not the wiki, we want the git. We actually just want to go to there, right? This is hosted docker hub.docker.com. That does that mean docker pull requark/wiki? Okay, let's open that too because that seems like something that could be useful. I think it's docker.io, and this is just requarks/ wiki. They just called that as wiki. That's fine. And the tag, let's get the latest master. Master probably is what we want. Oops, wrong tab. Tag master. Cool. We don't need this set to if not present. Yeah, we just want if not present. That's probably a fine pull policy. So that fulfills some of the things we've got up here. We need to probably change, I don't know what that image pull secrets does, and I'm going to just ignore it, and in fact I'm going to remove it. Yeah, remove that guy, remove both of those. I think that actually will do that. I don't know if that's the right Docker registry, that's the only issue, but I guess we'll find out. Well, hang on, I guess we can figure it out because we go to here and we search for MediaWiki. MediaWiki, it's official, 500,000 pulls. Well, no, it's the, let's go back to where we copied this from. Bitnami MediaWiki. Where are we? Bitnami. Yes, Bitnami, bunch of things. Bitnami MongoDB. Why is everybody using Bitnami shit instead of their own? Do they make good stuff? I don't know anything about Bitnami, to be perfectly honest. Let's speed this up. Seem to be making a lot of stuff though. Bitnami. Who are Bitnami? I've definitely heard the name. Interesting. Interesting. Repackaging stuff from the look of it. Okay, so that is the correct one. So I definitely have the right hub. Yes, hub.docker.com must be like the browsing URL. Alright, so that looks right. That looks like it'll fetch our thing. I mean, the only end variable that this Docker image seems to define is wiki admin email. So like, let's chuck that in there and let's chuck it in our values.yml. We might just be good at that point to boot something up. It's not going to have a DB though, so it probably won't work, but it's definitely a start. Let's nuke all of these. We can always get them again later. So still end variables, I think that's it. Yeah. Getting values out of secrets though, that's fine. Yeah, that's env. So name wiki admin email, and the value is going to be dot values, and we do have to. The little quirk of the templating syntax here is that if the only value in a line is like template literal, then you've got it surrounded with quotes. So let's do values dot env dot wiki admin email, like that, and then over here we're going to put a env section wiki admin email defaults to we want to default it to whatever that thing defaults to. I think we do. What does that default to? admin@example.com. Yep, good old example.com. Pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, example.com is like an IETF reserved URL, so it's never going to resolve to anything. Or sorry, IETF reserved hostname, so it's never going to resolve, which is probably what we want. Cool. Now, what ports are they exposing? They're mapping port 80 to 3000. We should probably make that configurable. So we're going to go back in here and we're going to go ports. Do they only do 80? Why don't they expose 443? Don't tell me this doesn't have any support for certificates, or it must do. It must do if it's being used as, I mean, we can check, right? If this loads over HTTP, no. See, it's on HTTPS. They don't have any instructions in here on how the hell that actually works, though, which is not the best. Guess we can have a look at their Docker file, right? Where's their Docker file? Tools, maybe. Yeah, there it is. Well, no, that doesn't help. Build. Ah, that's the Docker file. Yes, gotcha. Add bash code, git OpenStack supervisor, OpenSSH, supervisor d.conf, Wikijs Heroku equals 1, expose port 3000. Okay. Doesn't fill me with confidence. Do they just let you do SSL termination elsewhere? Look, maybe that's not something we have to necessarily worry about right this second. But yeah, for the moment it looks like, where's that Docker file again? Get it back. There it is, or no, in fact just the Docker compose file. They're exposing 3000 and they're mapping 80 to 3000. I think that's my reading of that. Yeah, they expose ports. So they run on port 3000. Okay. So what we want to do here is we want to do like external port. Let's default it to 3001 just to be safe. So I had had quite a bad experience the other day where I installed an Nginx ingress controller, and I think I basically accidentally mapped it to the to just like regular port 80 and port 443 using the wrong set of configuration, and I couldn't actually log into my Kubernetes cluster remotely because I think it was serving the wrong certificate and it didn't like it, and I tried this insecure and it didn't like it at all. I actually had to SSH into the Kube server and install Kube control there, and thankfully it could talk to itself because presumably it was going via some internal interface. And yeah, I mean, thankfully I was able to resolve it. That was a bit frustrating. I ripped it out and then changed some of the config, and so unfortunately at the moment I haven't been able to get it to work whereby like you have to provide the correct port. It's doing hostname routing, but it's not. Ideally what you want is you want to be able to go into your URL bar and you want to type wiki.home.skouf.com, not wiki.home.skouf.com : 3001, right? That's frustrating, but anyway, we'll come to that at a later stage. I'm sure it's a solvable problem. I just need to figure out exactly how. So external port there for the moment, and here we're going to map container port. Yeah, I think we just want to. Do we even need to map the external? We won't use that right now. We're just going to map container port HTTP on 3000. Nothing but a lurker. Poor DNS record management. It's not. I don't know if it's. Thank you for watching, by the way. Very happy to have you here. The more the merrier. It's not. I don't know if it's DNS record management. It's just the fact that, like, there are no DNS. The DNS records are being set up on my router manually, basically. It's just the fact that it's just my misunderstanding of ingress controllers and how they work. I couldn't get things working. Okay, hang on. Use it. SRV record. Okay. We can take a look at this right now. A service record, specification of data and domain name, system finding, location, host name. Oh, shit! Damn! Nothing but a lurker. Alright. Amazing. Thank you. Yes, I will be using those. I wonder if DDWRT supports those. I had no idea. Oh, man. You're the best. Thank you so much. That's going to help an incredible amount. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. No. I was about to say I assumed something like this would exist. I don't think I assumed it. I kind of said, what's my mailing address? Like my physical address? Mr. Nothing But a Lurker or Mrs. Nothing But a Lurker? Like physical address. I'm happy to give it to you. Obviously not on air. I'll PM you. But if you want to mail me something, as long as it's not like anthrax or a bomb or something, so you can send me the bill. Very funny. I will elect not to provide that. I'm sure if you looked hard enough, you could probably find it. Well, I did move house at the beginning of the year, so it might be a little difficult. Yeah, you send me the bill. You can email it to me, n.skoufis@gmail.com. You can find that on all my, you can see that on the Twitch page or wherever. Yeah, but thank you for the SRV record. Yes, definitely I'm going to use that. That's awesome. Cool. So I just have to, presumably I just have to, hang on, where do you actually set these? Oh, do you set them up in a zone file? Yeah. So it lives on my DNS server. Todd, give me free access to Greater Commons. Who is Todd? I know a Todd. Well, I know several Todds. What is Greater Commons? If you'd like to elaborate, I'm more than happy to answer that question. I'm not sure what that is though. Oh, gotcha. Are you hopping usernames? I didn't have a look, to be honest. I thank you. I remember you sending me that. I haven't had much time to look into any Golang lately, but I will definitely look into it. Yeah, right. I'm confused. Right, that's what confused me, because you've changed usernames. If I'm not mistaken. So SRV records. Yeah. Okay. I presume. Well, let's just Google it right now. DDWRT SRV records, or in fact DNS mask SRV records. DNS mask SRV record. It's got to be possible, right? Yeah, there you go. Look, a wiki article from 2014. I'm sure it'll be nice and up to date. Yeah, so it had custom. Very interesting. Yeah, I'll file that away as something I'll definitely do at a later stage. But yeah, that will help immensely. Thank you again, Mr. Lurker. Appreciate it. I'm definitely going to use those. That's what I was saying before. I didn't assume that they existed. I kind of thought like, wouldn't it be cool if that existed? And then immediately was like, no, nothing like that will exist. Like, you just need to figure out your shit. Excuse me, I attend to my couple of notifications. Cool. Alright, so now that we've got that set up, external port, we don't really need to map that right now. We're just exposing this container port HTTP 3000. That should be fine. We don't need HTTPS because it's not there. liveness probe and the readiness probes. Now, that's a good question. Maybe we should just... Maybe I shouldn't be trying to do this quite as sort of live as I'm doing right now. Maybe I should be trying to see what the default... I wonder if there's a page where I can play with Wiki.js. Presumably the liveness probe is just does /load, right? Like the root. Where's Wikijs? I mean, this is powered by Wiki.js. Wiki, you can, where are we? Check it out. So try and install on your own server computer. Yeah, that's fair enough. The official website runs on it. It should just be, yeah, does /load. So I assume I can just go path, port, initial delay. That all seems pretty reasonable. Resources, we don't do any more resources there, but we can probably just leave those there. We're gonna change these. Obviously, it's probably gonna be volume mounts. The volume mounts. What volume mounts do we need for this? Probably none right now. Volume mounts. Where is our... There's a config volume, right? That's fine, but that can really be a... I don't know if that even needs to be a persistent volume. That's just an internal volume that Kube can figure out how to provision on its own, right? So presumably we want to go volume mounts name Wiki.js config, and the mount path is going to be slash where were we? Slash var slash wiki slash config.yaml wiki config.yaml. We don't need that other mount. And then down here we're going to have to define our, we don't need that if else because we're definitely always going to have Wiki.js config. And we'd probably need a PVC template, Wikijs dot fullname dash mediawiki dash Wikijs config empty directory. Now I don't actually know how that works. I don't think we need that. I've stuffed up some sort of... No, that's cool. That's just a single line directory. We don't need that if around there. We don't need that either. Alright, I think that's good. Is that how PVC works? We want a persistent volume claim. Let's see. Persistent volume claim. Let's just look up the Docker here. Storage object in use, expanding, persistent volumes, claims. There we go. We're just defining one inline though. Let's go back. Actually, let's have a look at the containers. No worries, nothing but a lurker. We want the reference. Although this has been an absolute pig to navigate in the past. It's very difficult to navigate this reference documentation. It just bounces you all around the place, but that's okay. It's deployment. That's what we want. And can I click on? Yeah, we can. There we go. Deployment, and we want the deployment spec, replicas, template, pod template, because that's what we're defining right now. It's part of our spec containers, I think. No. We're defining this is a deployment object, right? Yes, right. So it's within the spec, and then it's within the containers bit. Pod template spec. and then there's a containers, there's a pod spec, and then there's a containers field, and then there's a containers spec, right? Oh no, this is the spec. Ports, readiness probe, resources, security context, standard input, termination message, volume mounts. That's what we want, right? Volume mounts. Oh, it's separate. It's not part of containers, it's just volumes. Volume mounts is cool. Containers, volumes. Where are we? Subdomain. It's good to know. Volumes. Okay. SFFS volume source. What are we doing here? We got volumes. It's got regular name. And we've got, where are we? Name and then a persistent volume claim. Right, gotcha. Persistent volume claim source. Again, yeah, see this documentation, it's very, like I see why it's just slightly hard to navigate. You've got to really, it's kind of almost like in Visual Studio where you've just embraced the control click, the jump to definition. Like, remember that confused the absolute crap out of me the first time I used it. Like I wasn't used to such large code bases, and so I was trying to sort of manually comb through everything and figure out where the bits of code that I was looking for were. And somebody showed me that control click, and then that kind of changes in your mind. You just become a complete slave to it, and you don't even bother even looking for things sometimes. If you need to know where something is in the file tree, you'll use the shortcut that'll reveal it there, but the rest of the time you just control click and kind of don't worry about where you are because you just want to read and understand the code. Seems like this is basically that, but API documentation. Right, so core claim name, yeah, I'm fine with that. What does that empty dir do? And we'll be back here. Empty dir. A temporary directory that shares the pod's lifetime. That doesn't sound right. No. We actually want to make it a proper... Yeah, we want to make it proper. So let's actually close out both of these, and I'm going to go over to, I want to see how again up, I want to see how Plex is set up. Plex, Qplex charts, Qplex templates, how's their deployment set up? So they've got, oh, they don't set it up as anything. Right, they just set, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Cool, alright, well that's alright then. Let's go back into our Wiki.js chart, cd helm, vim. Ooh, now I'm just gonna, delicious smells are emanating from my kitchen. I'm just gonna put on a break up again just so I can go check that it's not sort of going too nuts. I turned up the heat a little bit, so just bear with me for 2 minutes. Alright, and I'm back. Sorry about that. Just had to check on the food. It is looking good for those of you playing at home. It's probably simmering up a little too high, so I turned it down. Yeah, okay, cool. So we've got, where were we? What was I doing? Yeah, so we wanted to change the, we want a Vim templates deployment. Yeah, we want to change this. That can't be an empty directory because it's not temporary. So we just want to basically leave it like that, right? And I think, look, we should be good citizens and provide effectively what that other thing was providing. I'm actually just going to pull it up via here. Kubeplex. There it is. Which is the option to specify a name for a PVC you've already created yourself, sort of that outside the life cycle of the pod, because you may want that because you may want it to be persistent. That was specified in here. Let's just copy them to see how they've done it. Yeah, so we want basically a persistence section, and we want to config. Yeah. And I don't think we need it to be that big. Requested site. Yeah, look, let's just copy this. Oops, again, the wrong tab every bloody time. Let's go to our values.yaml. Specify claim name to manually override the PVC. Claim name is specified, storage class and size are ignored. Yep, that seems sensible. And then how do they actually interpret that when they're setting up? Templates, volumes. They have separate volumes. But only if you need them. Only if you need them. Right. So essentially here we want basically this. We have to set up the PVC manually, right? Deployment here references the PVC. Does it? Yes, yeah it does. If you specify that claim, oh, in fact I've been a bit of an idiot with that with what I've done, because I've manually specified these, whereas really it should just be up to the. So what I've done for my Plex chart is I've actually manually created a pvc.yaml. Xenocron, good morning. I was wondering if you would pop in to have a look. Thank you for joining us. I understand that this is probably an awful time for you. It's probably very early morning over there. Well, given the fact you're saying good morning, it's probably very early. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do about that because I haven't had a whole bunch of people watching this stream, which is okay, but you know, I still want to reach a bunch of people if possible. And unfortunately, well, because I'm off work, it's a super convenient time. I appreciated the start time. Okay, well look, maybe I will continue to stream sort of early-ish in the morning from now on, just because, well, just for the next week, you know, while I mentioned, you would have missed it, but at the beginning of the stream I was saying I actually finished up at my previous job yesterday, so I've got the next, basically until next Monday when I start my new job off. So I'm hoping to do a whole bunch of streaming, in amongst a whole lot of other things. I got a little, basically a week of free time, which is lovely, just to do some little bits and pieces that I've been putting off. So let me know what time is right now when you guys are just waking up. I guess, hang on, what is the time in Europe? This seems like the sort of thing I should just be able to go Google. What is the time? What is the time in Europe? I guess Europe's a big place, but oh, look, that gave me a pretty decent answer. Sort of. Central Europe. Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, so it's like morning time in Europe. Okay, maybe I should schedule, because I did start about an hour and a half ago. Maybe I'll change my starting time to be sort of about now, or about sort of 30 minutes ago. Anyway, look, it's something that I can sort out. There's no harm in doing a few streams at different times to see who I can pick up. So since you've just joined us, do you want a little? I'll give you a little recap of what we're doing. The Kubernetes server we set up last time is running nicely. I've deployed a few things to there. I've deployed Plex there. Unfortunately, Plex seems to not be playing nice with the Chromecast at the moment, but it's there and it's working, which is cool. So what I'm doing today is I'm writing a Helm chart. Helm is a package management system for Kubernetes. Writing a Helm chart to deploy Wiki.js, which is a JavaScript-based wiki system that I'm going to deploy and hopefully use to document stuff at home. You'll probably think you're on that stream where I was chatting about what I'm going to use it for. Well, this is the thing. I'm going to deploy it. So yeah, I'm just looking into using this Plex chart as a template for me to set up my own Helm chart and learn a bit about how Helm charts work. So I just came to the conclusion that in fact, this is what I should be doing, is I should be having a separate volumes YAML file template that just has if statements around it. And so effectively what you can do is you can specify, and I've done it again, you can specify in here either a pre-existing claim, or if you don't, you can specify your storage class in here and the size of this claim, right? And it'll generate it for you. So we're going to make the size, I don't think it needs to be 1 GB. In fact, I think it could even be just, I mean, how big could that config file get? Like, let's make it like 10, like let's make it 10 megabytes. Yeah, I think that's probably ample size. So we'll basically use the same pattern there, which is that we're going to create a templates/volumes.yaml file, and we're going to copy in the content we find here, basically. Yeah, I think that's it. And we don't even need any of this if stuff. I think we can just have an empty file. Yeah, that'll just give us an empty file, I think. We don't even need that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Oops, and it's completely, let's undo that. Let's paste it that way, that's better. Right, so values persistent, let's get that values file up. YAML, yikes. Good old YAML. I'm slowly coming around. Slowly, exceedingly slowly. I kind of bloody hated it. I thought, just why not just use JSON? I actually don't necessarily agree that JSON is less readable. I think at least with JSON you've got those braces to delimit things. It's not so white space. Like, learning YAML or getting used to YAML feels like when I first started learning Python, where I was like, what? The white space matters? That doesn't make any sense. Whereas now I'm kind of coming around to it, just like I came around to Python and I was happy with using the white space in the end. Now that I've been writing a lot more YAML, and what helps immensely is having an editor like Vim, which will actually do the indentation properly. I think my nightmares with YAML have been in times where you can't see any of the indentation, which is really frustrating. So here, this value is called values.persistence.config.claimname. Yeah, and that should do it. And then we want to change that to be .-config. Oh, and actually, yes. We can use those same values from, like, this metadata labels block can basically just come straight from the example that we were copying from the PMS. No, sorry, it can come from, anyway, I'll show you where it's going to come from in a second. Cool, that'll do. Right, fair enough. So wait, so you prefer YAML, or you prefer you're saying you don't like JSON for human readable stuff, and I think that's a fair criticism to make. Also, this does not need to be read write many, it needs to be read write once. That's not going to be shared. So do you like YAML for more for human readable things, or what do you use? What's your alternative there? I think that's done for that PVC. Let's just pull up over here the deployment.yaml, and we'll copy our little metadata out of there. Yeah, that's what we want. We basically just want that block, but we're going to add a -config to the end of it. Yank, and we're going to paste it over here. Component. That's a new one. I'm learning all about all this metadata stuff. That's basically what we want, right? And then over here we want dash config. Config, and then our component here is going to be config. Yeah, look, that seems reasonable to me. Yep, I like that. Cool. So I think if we go over here now, as long as we've set that up, we should probably change that. Oops. To does it need to be called Wiki.js config? It's already going to be in the namespace. Yeah, I guess Wiki.js -config. Cool. I think since those names match, that should work. It's going to be a claim name. Oh, except what we want to do is we want to do that little trick where we want to go if. Now, why are there dashes at the beginning of those? Should there be dashes there? That doesn't look right. Why is there a I don't think they're required, but I'm going to leave them in just because I don't want to break anything. So the other thing we want to do here is we want to say if values.persistence.config.claimName. So if they've defined a claim name, we want to set this claim name parameter to, and I have to figure out how to do else's in Go template language. We can just probably crib it from here, from deployment. That's just else, dash else. Yeah, okay. Where are we? Else. So the else is this, because the else is that, yeah, the else is that you haven't defined a claim name and it's had to generate a PVC for you. The if is you've generated a claim name and we just want to insert the value .values.persistence.config.claim name. We have to remember to put quotes around it because otherwise the template is going to complain. Cool. Yep, I agree with you. Trailing, yeah. In fact, I read an interesting article that they're all very good points, Xenocron saying. Also, by the way, for the next stream, I'm going to have the comments, comment stream up on the right-hand side. I think it's high time I did that. It's going to reduce my usable viewing space a little bit, but it'll mean that I actually get to have maybe a little bit more. I get to make the comments space a little bit bigger, and I can probably put some more stuff around the edges of my screen. Yeah, Xenocron, I agree that the trailing commas are frustrating, although I read an interesting article that got linked on Hacker News about how the JSON standard, I don't think the JSON standard allows trailing commas, but so many of the parsers will actually accept trailing commas. So, but you're right, yeah, most of the time you don't do trailing commas, and you don't do, you have to quote all the keys and no comments, although again, that article was saying that a lot of JSON parsers will accept comments, but it depends on which JSON parser it is. The native standard doesn't include comments because it was trying to be very straightforward. Yeah, look, I agree with that. That's fair enough. That's definitely fair enough. So yeah, look, I'm coming around to YAML. It's definitely got its advantages, and being able to put comments in there is definitely one of them, and just human readability is easy. No trailing commas, nothing like that. But yeah, it took me a while to come around, but I'm coming around now, so we're getting there. I need to put an end here, don't I? End. Cool. I think I was puzzled about what these dashes at the beginning were. That's probably just Go templating language for. It's probably just doing something special. It's some sort of like, usually the templating languages have, you know, you've got your double brace, which is mustache style, I think, or handlebars, or one of those brace style of templating languages. They usually have different things that you can put after the initial set of control characters to determine what the output is. So I know I was using at work a little bit EJS templating language, and that's got some things you put at the trailing one that does things like white space slurping, so it'll sort of slurp out any white space after it when it's run through templating engine. Alright, cool. So I think that will do us for this persistent volume, and I think that'll do us in terms of defining volumes here. We mapped that correctly. Mount path var wiki config YAML. Yep. That all looks pretty good. I mean, we could probably deploy this now and just mess around with it. I don't know if it'll quite work yet. Yes, thank you. Xenocron, completely agree. The lists always screw me around. I never can remember how to do the indentation. I think like they kind of look a little ugly to the eye. It's a lot more difficult than just they just, because there's no delimiters around them. The only delimiter in a list, right, is like the first element of it, right? But now Toml I have not played with much, but I should probably have a bit more of a play with it. I'm assuming it's similar to YAML. In fact, I've used it once for something, but yeah, Toml, interesting. All the configuration languages, well, not configuration language, markup languages. So, or not markup languages, you know what I mean. You know, in terms of human readable, YAML, Toml, and then JSON machine readable. What else was I going to do? So Kubeplex, is there anything else we need in here? No, there's post start. Readiness probe is out. I'm just wondering if there's anything else we need to put in there. We probably want to put in... Okay, we're going to need a database, right? And I think... So how do the... Let's look at this cube thing. How do the requirements, or the... No, the documentation for charts. How do requirements work? Requirements. Oh, starter charts. That would have been helpful. Anyway, we're here now. Chart dependencies. That's what we want. One chart may depend on any number of other charts. Dynamically link through requirements.yaml file or brought into the charts directory. The preferred method is requirements.yaml. Dependency section has been completely removed. Huh? Oh, okay. So we don't have dependencies anymore. It's obsolete. Right. Name, version, repository. Chart repository. Helm repo add to add that repo locally. Once you have a dependencies file, you can run Helm dependency update. Use your dependency file to download all your specified charts into the /charts. Oh, I see. As archives in the charts directory. Gotcha. An optional field alias, which lets you alias charts when they conflict. Yep. Tags and conditions. Oh. Each requirement contain optional fields, tags, and conditions. Condition. The condition field holds one or more YAML paths. If this path exists in the top parent's view and results a boolean, the chart will be enabled or disabled. Okay, so that's flagging it on or off. And then tags on or off. Gotcha. Alright, we don't really need that. Oh, we could use it, but we're not, right? Importing child values via requirements.yaml. Oh. Fascinating. Oh, that's what we want. Right. Okay. Alright, look, we're in business now. Helm look at the exports field. Right. Child parent. Using the child parent format. Import values. Okay, so we can import keys from the child. Question is, can we pass keys to the child? Has effect chart installation. After install. Okay. Okay, alright, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to have a look at this. Now, do Bitnami provide a... Are they the ones providing this MongoDB thing? No, that's fine. Alright, let's have a look at their... okay, configuration. How do we pass configuration to child? Do we want to? We probably don't really care. No, we've got to be able to pass some things to this MongoDB child service. I mean, it just kind of does its own thing, but we want to be able to inject values. How do we do that? Is there an option to do that? There must be a way of doing it. We don't want to manage dependencies manually, but we do want to pass values to the children, right? Or do they just export those values and we just use them? Where are we? Where did we go? There. That's MediaWiki. I swear I opened that MongoDB. Oh my god, too many bloody... We can close these. At SRV. You have nothing... You have good news for me. Nothing but a lurker. Alright. Hit me. Hit me. I'm open to the good news. I'm always up for good news. Bad news, less hot. But, that's okay. Where are my sub values and are they exported? No, that's the DocuWiki chart. We want the MongoDB chart. Let's go to the source. Maybe I didn't open the source. No, I don't think I did. You're back. Ah, that is good news. Good to have you back. Nothing but a lurker. Charts, values.yml. Are we exposing things? Are we exporting things here? Setting the password on first run. Alright, look, maybe let's have a look at some of these. Set the password or using doc. The root full administrative access is not specified. The server allows unauthenticated and unrestricted access. I mean, does that really... Maybe that doesn't matter because maybe we... It seemed like bloody good practice, right? It seems like good practice. How the hell do the Wiki guys do it? So if they're going to have a GitHub repo and they're going to rely on, so let's say requirements.yaml, they're relying on MariaDB. How do they inject values into MariaDB? External DB dash. Oh, do they mount the external DB secrets? Oh, okay. SMTP password, right? External DB secrets. If not, values.mariadb enabled. So if not MariaDB. What about if yes MariaDB? Deployment, it'll be in here, right? Values. Yeah. So if you've enabled MariaDB or external database host, cool. And then if MariaDB enabled in here? MediaWiki username, MediaWiki database password. Else printf release name external DB password. So if MariaDB is enabled, the secret key ref. Oh, it pulls that out of a secret. Oh, I get you. I get you. I think. Yeah, it pulls a value from a secret. Okay, right. Gotcha. So I think I understand now. I think it's pulling the credentials out of a secret. Presumably they are, but does that mean bloody MariaDB randomly generates them? I think it does. I think we already looked at this. But because bloody Mongo doesn't, then how the hell do we set them? Or do we just let it be unauthenticated? That doesn't seem like a good idea. No, I think that's a bad idea. There's the problem with bloody dependencies, is that if they don't do what you expect them to do, then it makes things incredibly difficult. That's quite frustrating. So the issue is that MongoDB seems, or this MongoDB Helm chart seems like it's not providing any username and password option, or it doesn't set a username and password by default. So what MariaDB does is that it sets a username and password to some random characters, puts them in a secret, and then we can just tell. So for DocuWiki, which is what, or sorry, MediaWiki, which is what consumes MariaDB in that chart, it just says go and look at the secret and pull out the values. So that's all fine. But for us, what happens by default is that no username and password gets set, and MongoDB is just open to the world, which is probably okay because it's running in a container inside a pod and is only exposed via a service. So you don't really need to worry about it super much, but I would like to run with username and password. So what I'm thinking is that I may have to do something similar to what they do with MariaDB, which is essentially say, well, okay, if you want to use the built-in deployment of MongoDB, then you just run unauthenticated. If you want to use an external database, and that external database, I think in my case, will just be a separate MongoDB instance that maybe I'll administer on my own. If you want to use a separate database, then just you can pull the secret out of based on that external database, right? I think that works. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to basically copy what they're doing for MediaWiki, which is secrets.yaml, deployment.yaml. So in here, you can see they're doing MariaDB. If MariaDB enabled, then they're going to have MariaDB full name, and then the value is going to be the MariaDB host. Yeah. It's pointing at a different host. Values external database.host, MariaDB port number. Or do I? You know what? Actually, no. On second thought, like if we are just exposing the service. Yeah, if we're in control of what services get exposed and everything is sort of containerized and locked down, we probably don't need to worry about the fact that Mongo doesn't have authentication, right? Because it's running on our Kubernetes host, it's only going to be exposed via the ports that we want, and in theory, it's only going to be exposed, or is it exposed to the whole cluster? Probably exposed to the whole cluster. I don't know if we can really lock it down to just be exposed to a particular service to consume it. So I think we probably do. We probably do need choices. Yeah, I think what we should do is we should use MariaDB. Yeah, we should use a similar pattern as what they've done here. So you can bring your own database, or we can give you a database for you. If they give us a database, then we just use no authentication, and it's up to you. And I'll put it in that notes.txt saying like, note, because you've used the default database, it comes without authentication. If you want authentication, bring your own database. Is there really no way to inject values down into dependent charts? That seems really dumb. I guess we could fork their chart. Yeah, I guess we could fork their chart. I wonder if there's actually, let's go to the source of that chart and see if there's like pull request saying set a bloody default password. It's not that one, is it? Yes, it is. MongoDB. Wow, it's, oh no, that's right. It's all in this merged bloody thing. It's going to be an absolute hassle to try and make this work. Or to try and find a pull request that refers to this. No, that's not going to work. Configuration, right. Specify image pull secrets. Use password. Oh no, hang on, I'm an idiot. Random alphanumeric string as the root password. Oh, okay. No, it does default to sensible defaults. Database to create, external flags, cluster IP, node port. Doesn't bind to a node port. I guess that's okay. Oh no, I guess that's okay. We don't want to expose it outside the node. Persistence true. Yeah, that all seems pretty straightforward. Okay, alright, no. Crisis averted. I should have actually read the documentation before I jump to any conclusions. Seems like it does set an alphanumeric password. We just need to look into here to see what it sets. So I think we can just go... follow a similar pattern to what MediaWiki does, right? Which is that in their chart they go, we're not going to, in this case, we're not actually going to offer an option to do a MediaWiki host. The MariaDB host... sorry, an external MongoDB host. So here, we're just going to go, that's if values MariaDB is enabled, it just gets the value of the host is the value of that. Right. Let's copy that. Do we need that? Is that even an option as part of our Wiki.js? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Exposes 2701. So you just need to wire that up. We're not going to be passing it as a as an environment variable. I don't think it even supports any environment variables, really. I don't think so. Yeah, that was our compose file. Volumes, data, Mongo log directory. I guess it just finds it on 27017. Just assumes there's a MongoDB instance there. And maybe in the setup, that's when you actually define that stuff. So maybe I'm even getting ahead of myself. I really would like to see how this actually works. Wonder if I could just run it in a local container. Hey, nothing but a lurker. You're not wrong. It is written in Go. That's part of the reason I think I was saying the other day why I would like to use it. You know what? I might just use this Docker Compose to just locally launch a little bit of this and just see how it works. Because I'm real curious. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Alright. Let's just put it here. We should be fine if we put it here. There it is, Docker Compose up. I have noticed that actually. Alright, so just pulling in our little, pulling in a few little things here. I'm going to play with this. It should be on my localhost 3000, assuming something else isn't hogging my local 3000 port. I think localhost 3000, or did I get that wrong, or is it exposing 3000 is actually localhost 80? There's definitely going to be something on localhost 80. That's going to be a pain. Anyway, I guess we'll find out in a second. We will find out in a second. Because I kind of need to know what the configuration parameters are here. Like, how does this thing actually get configured, you know? I'm assuming it points off to a Git repo, but does the configuration file hold, what's this looking like? Exit status 1, detect configure it. That's not great. Using XFS file system is strongly recommended. Smoke and mirrors. Yeah, what's going on here? So the DB looked like it was fine. Supervisor running as root, RPC interface supervisor. Running without any HTTP authentication. Spawned Wiki.js. Gave up. Alright, let's try those again. Well, that's not bloody good if it's not even going to bloody work. There are pull requests there to fix shit or something? Pull requests 5, issues 102. Yes, that's not the best. 102 issues. Is there anything about compose in here? Interesting. We're not looking at the wrong branch, are we, or something? Master should be stable. 35 releases. Maybe we should go back to the tagged release. Ah, okay. Yep, that would help. Let's go back to that. Let's see if we have any changes under our Docker Compose file. It certainly looks the same. Maybe requark's latest is the wrong idea. Maybe the right idea. Bind IP WikiDB. Interesting. Right, that's binding it to this service IP. Let's Docker hub or hub.docker.com, right? Yeah, that's what we want. Let's have a look at a stable release. Maybe we want to be on a stable channel. Latest, master. They look like they're the same. Latest and master. Latest release, you would think. Maybe we just want to be on latest. Docker specific instructions. We did look these. Oh, hang on a second. Oh. Huh. It wants a sample config file. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Okay. So what is this? Oh, you can auth to it using LDAP Azure OAuth. Wow. Oh, there's a DB connection string. Right. Oh, well, this is bloody pain in the ass. Stuff that's configured in here should not be configured in here. Your database connection string. Okay, how the hell are we going to render this out? Can we locally mount this file, and so we can generate a sort of basic config file that we then mount with Wiki.js? Or am I just being a git and I shouldn't actually be using Wiki.js, I should be using MediaWiki, even though it's more heavyweight? This is usually, yeah, it's definitely at this sort of time where I would go, yeah, this project kind of sucks, and I'll probably just use my own, I'll probably just use an existing product, but I don't want to. I kind of want to get this working. Maybe that's why there isn't a chart for it already, because it's sort of architected strangely. So I guess the issue here is that ideally we'd like to inject this DB value as an environment variable, right? But instead it's just got this static config.yaml file that it wants to read in that we can mount. We have control over that, I guess, but it makes it hard to orchestrate, because what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put in like that DB connection string here, should, instead of saying localhost 27017, it should actually be like, we should be interpolating in a service name that will get used internally by Kubernetes for DNS, which will be able to connect to our Mongo pod, as opposed to what it's got there, which is just some... Yeah, that's a little frustrating. I guess we could... all these configuration files. Yeah, man, this is a bad idea. I thought it would be a good idea to have to use Wiki.js, but maybe it's been actually an awful idea, and maybe what I should be doing is I should be using bloody this MariaDB Helm, this MediaWiki Helm chart, right? MediaWiki is like what Wikipedia runs on. Why did I think I was too good for Wikipedia? Probably because it looks ugly, and I thought Wiki.js would be prettier, but I don't think that's the case. Alright. I'm going to have a think about that. I'm tempted to forge on with the Wiki.js stuff, but I don't really want to do it if it's going to be a waste of time. I guess the other question is, if I wanted to... Poor assumptions. Well, this is what happens when you make bad assumptions. I guess my assumption was that I would be editing code, right? Like I would be changing like the code to do stuff. But I guess if you're using a framework or a product, you're not going to be editing the code. It doesn't really matter whether it's written in PHP or JavaScript, as much as I sort of abhor PHP. Yeah, it's a bit of a fail here, to be perfectly honest. Yes. All right. Look, let's change tack then. And I might have to cut the stream a little bit early. I was planning on going for another hour, but maybe I'll just go for a little bit longer. Okay, we're going to change tack. Look, you know, it's not a complete failure because I have actually learned a fair bit about writing a Helm chart, which is good. Still probably haven't mastered them yet. We'll still probably need to write a few more, and I intend to write some more. You know, eventually I'll be writing them for my own services in theory, right? In theory, I'll be writing a Helm chart for maybe even different components of the Lightpet project. So I'm going to definitely write more in the future. I also just had an interesting idea, just complete as a side, just to try and, you know, if I can, tempt you into staying and coming back and following and subscribing in the future at some point. But I did have an idea today that I was watching The Verge, the Verge popular technology website, one of my faves. Used to been watching their content from like the beginning, the get-go. Day one of The Verge, I remember it launching. I remember the lead up to it. It used to be called This Is My Next. Big fan of those guys. Yeah, exactly, Xenocron. A fun project becomes a pain in the ass. In this case, it's more of like a project that I thought would be fun and I'd learn a whole lot becomes like too complicated and difficult and actually isn't even really fit for purpose anymore. And it's like, well, I don't really even want to do this anymore. Like, it's going to be not being able to... having that static config file really shot me in the foot. So yeah, The Verge, I was watching one of their live streams from their gadget show, Circuit Breaker. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I'm just a big fan of them and a big fan of some of the people who have moved through there. Big fan of Josh Topolsky, who runs the Outline now. I think he's a really good writer, very funny man, very good view on tech. And I was watching them and I had a little bit of a segment about like smart plant watering devices, so like these little things you can get, and they've got water reservoirs, and they'll automatically water your plants when they're dry. And look, I've managed to keep the plants in my apartment alive so far, but I was thinking, what if I did a little bit of hardware hacking, back on the stream as usual, you know, feeding back more ideas, more blog posts, more good stuff like that. And I was thinking, what if I wrote a little bit of software and made a little bit of hardware, like some tiny sort of actually do it would be a good learning opportunity because it'll be my first opportunity to really play with like bare microcontrollers, like microcontrollers that aren't soldered into like an Arduino breakout board. So basically grab one of those, grab a little Bluetooth module, tack them together and deploy, and more than likely put them inside some epoxy or something, and get wireless sort of wireless updates going, and make them little portable temperature, humidity, maybe not even humidity, maybe just temperature and moisture and light sensors that I could kind of deploy around the place, that would function and would report back to a central server somewhere to talk about when my plants needed watering. Probably automating the watering might be a step too far, given that I'm renting and that if I spill too much water on the floor, it's likely to become a big problem. In fact, there already is apparently water leaking from my apartment to the one below. So not automated watering, but certainly like a little alert. I could have a little dashboard that could run as a service on the Kube server that would show metrics of like water levels and or moisture levels and light levels and stuff, and tell me if I needed to water things. So yeah, it could be a fun little project that I might do in the future. But yes, unfortunately, it seems like this little project has been frustrating. But what I'm going to do for the next, well, however long it takes, and then I'm probably going to call it, is I'm going to use a Helm chart to install MediaWiki with a built-in. In fact, I may even deploy my own MariaDB. Oh no, I don't really need a MariaDB server. For the moment, I'll just deploy MediaWiki using that Helm chart. But what I will do is I'm going to use the great suggestion from Nothing But a Lurker to set up some SRV records so that I can hit a domain name without having to have a custom port at the end, right? Because this is going to run over port, well, probably some custom high number port on my Kube server. And I'm going to get that to hopefully be configured so that I can just type the host name and it goes directly to that port without having to type the host name at the end. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to close all these trillions of tabs. I don't really need them anymore. I'll clear out those things later on. That's my Helm chart that I need. So we'll grab that down. All right, cool. Off we go. Unfortunately, a bit of a failure of the original project, but we persist. We must persist. Cool. Oh, that's the wrong tab. That's my dashboard. All right, back to here. Oh, did this actually work? No, it doesn't seem like it did. All right, cool. Let's stop that. Look, I'm going to commit this in case I decide to come back to it. Let's just remove that. Look, created a config.yaml right here. rm-rf config.yaml. Yeah. rm-rf data. Yeah, it's mounting these data folders. Sudo that. Oops. You know what? I actually probably don't even care if I accidentally, like, it's not a good idea, but if I accidentally reveal my password on this channel ever by accidentally typing into the wrong thing, it'll be a good bloody opportunity to change the password. I have not, Xenocron. I know you're a fellow Arch user. If you could link that in here, that would be absolutely fantastic, because I haven't been tweaking my Arch Linux. In fact, there will probably be a stream at some point, although it would be a little tricky because I feel like it would involve lots of reboots. But I definitely do want to pimp this PC a little bit. One thing that I'm desperately wanting to enable is suspend, like, you know, ACPI lifecycle, suspend and hibernate and that sort of stuff, because now that I've got the server, this PC doesn't need to be running all the time. I can just suspend it, but I hate having to boot it cold. So I need to enable that. So I wouldn't mind sort of cleaning up some of the crimes that I've done on this PC over the last many years at some point. But yeah, please link. I'm curious to see. We don't need a doc-compose file. All right, let's just add all this stuff. Git commit. I'm going to put work in progress. Project slightly failed. Eventually realized that due to the configuration of Wiki.js being via config.yaml file, yeah, that's relatable. Yeah, it's, you know, there's definitely, thank you for that link. I'm definitely going to have a look at that. Yeah, you know, it's sort of, I'm almost considering, do I actually set my main PC up as configuration as code using something similar to Ignition or something like that that'll actually bootstrap my main OS, and then I can just reprovision very easily every kind of 6-12 months, because it's been years since I've reinstalled an OS on this. I've been running Arch Linux for many years. I got into it sort of spent probably 3 or 4 years running Ubuntu, and then I think I got into Arch Linux eventually, maybe longer than that, and I haven't reprovisioned it in a very long time. It's very stale, and my home directory could probably do with a bit of a clean out, all those millions of dot files. But yeah, I'll definitely have a look at that. Thank you, Xenocron. So this commit eventually realized due to configuration Wiki just being config.yaml file, it makes it exceedingly exceedingly hard to orchestrate using Kube. Things like connection strings, passwords, etc. are hard to pull out and configure when they're not end variables, but instead config files. And I'm pretty sure this goes directly against the 12-factor app. Let's just double check my understanding of the 12-factor app. I'm pretty sure one of the tenets there is always use environment variables. Config, no, that's not it. Config, store config in the environment. Yep, that's like the thing, that's the number one. Another approach is config files that are not checked into revision control. Improvement over using constants. The 12-factor app stores config in environment variables. Yeah, right, that's how it's supposed to go, but they chose to ignore that, and thus I'm not going to be using their products. I guess that's bad for them. Push that up. It was a commit direct to master, but YOLO, because we're not probably going to use it right now. That's fine, and that's never going to be deployed, probably. Alright, cool. And in fact, let's just remove this entirely. Git submodule. I just delete it and it'll be gone. Let's just hang on. What's the status here? Oh, I haven't committed this for a while. Add rook config, plex config, Wiki.js temp stuff. This adds, yeah, I should have committed this ages ago, so this is pretty dirty, to be fair, or to be perfectly honest. It's a bit of a dirty configuration. Like, I've fixed the rook stuff, I fixed the plex stuff, but that's alright. So it adds rook, plex, Wiki.js, just for posterity, will be removed. Failed project. Yeah, look, that'll do. It's always frustrating when you get to the point and you're like, I have to commit this, but I've added a bunch of crap and I can't really be bothered going in and splitting up the commit. Bad developer, but hey, look, that's what's happening. So let's rm-f rf Wiki.js dot remove Wiki.js doesn't work as expected. Due to Wiki.js deciding not to follow the tenets of the 12-factor app, namely store your config in end variables. It's probably not fit for our purposes. Alright, that's fine. Now what we're going to do is instead we're going to make a directory called MediaWiki. Right. Back on track. And we just need a... Oops. We just need inside our MediaWiki. So I was saying before Xenocron, my pattern here has been to make a README file, which gives you instructions, MediaWiki setup instructions, and then have a config file, which is where you pass custom values. Can you pass a namespace to Helm? I think you can. Oops, again, the wrong tab. So setup instructions in terms of the Helm chart and how to pass. So Helm install -f config.yaml. I think namespace MediaWiki, and we'll give it a name of MediaWiki as well. MediaWiki. Actually, they don't hyphenate it, so maybe we shouldn't hyphenate it either. Oh no, I like hyphens. They don't have to hyphenate it. That's cool. Cool. That's pretty much it, right? And then so we're going to just make our config.yaml file, and that's going to have our custom configuration value. So what of these do we want to change? Most of this stuff is fine. MediaWiki user. What's the instructions here? want... okay. So we want to specify some of these, right? So MediaWiki email, for example. Let's specify that. That's going to be... Yeah, that worked well. MediaWiki email is going to be my email. Feel free to get in touch with that email, by the way, if you feel like it. If you ever want to ask questions offline, that's definitely a way to do it. A way. There's definitely many other ways you could get in touch, but that's definitely a way if you prefer email. The name, let's call it Scoof Home Wiki. Cool. Allow empty passwords, SMTP. Oh, are we going to use this to send emails? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's a particularly good idea. External database, no. MariaDB enabled, that's defaults to true, cool. MariaDB root password. All this stuff can really probably be left. Service type load balancer. Enable persistence using a PVC, storage class, default storage class. Yeah, that's really all probably stuff that we can just leave alone, right? User of the application. Is this like an admin user? Presumably it's an admin user. Yeah, might as well set that to Nixgo, to my user. Actually, given this is home, let's use a proper username. No handles. I guess if I have other people on this, I will have their full name. It's always good to set up a convention. There's a good man who's actually popped in here once or twice to provide his wisdom. He's brought me around to being a bit of a stickler for naming conventions. He's an absolute stickler for them, and he would insist on the names where we were working for users in like Bitbucket and users in Jira and Confluence and stuff like that, and consistency. And they say, what do they say? Foolish consistency is a hobgoblin of small minds, but it wasn't foolish consistency. It was there for a reason, and it all sort of makes sense, and I agree with that. And thank you for giving me, I know he's not watching, but I thank him for instilling me with that need to have consistency in my in my development practices. Cool. This seems like it's going to work. I think that's it. Is that how easy it's going to be to deploy? Damn. The other benefit here is you can you can use directly out of cat. You can get the Helm install command. I mean, this is going to be piss easy. The question is, how is it going to be exposed? I might have to set up my own ingress, but I can do that. I've got a template for how to do that. Man, there it goes. All right. How cool is that? So the load balancer, you can see it's set up a load balancer there. It's mapped port 80 to 32556 and 443 to 32657. Get the MediaWiki URL. Yep. So because it's running on that single node for the moment, so we probably will want to set up. We probably will want to set up some. Yeah, anyway, let's control get. I mean, but did you guys see how fucking easy that was? Yeah, and I said I wouldn't swear. If there's any young viewers watching, please let me know and I'll stop swearing. But until then, that was bloody easy. One command, and I set 3 bloody variables, and it all just kind of works. And if we can log into that in a sec, it'll be awesome. And it's got something to get the password. Cool, I'll do that in a bit. But yeah, that's really awesome, right? The service IP is going to be, and so I think if we just grab this port, and we probably want HTTPS, so let's just copy that. I think it's, nope. We may have to organize, we may have to set up ingress to that. I think we will. So what I've done elsewhere is in my Plex chart, Or did I not set up ingress? No, hang on, maybe I did it elsewhere. Is it in here? Cat config. Oops. I really just got R back in there. No, that's not what we need. I think we may need to... Did we modify the Plex chart to add Nginx ingress? Or is there even an ingress? Oh, hang on, there may not even be an ingress resource. How's it set up? Control get ing all namespaces. Oh, okay, so there's an ingress resource. Right. So there's no ingress resource for Nginx. Oh, sorry, for MediaWiki, which is probably why we can't get in. That makes sense. So we need to set up an ingress resource, but that's fine. And it's defined that we can just basically copy out a Plex. We may even submit this as a pull request to we want a cat qplex charts qplex oops slash templates slash there it is ingress. Right. So what you can see. Oh, that's actually just Vim that. Let's Vim that so we can just view the syntax highlighting. So what you can see is, so if values.ingress.enabled, it gets the service name and it sets up an ingress resource that basically you can see down here. It's got some annotations, that's fine. The spec, it says rules, the host maps to a particular path on the backend service, right? And you can configure TLS as well. We probably just want to do pass-through TLS and let the MediaWiki container handle that. So that's fine. So we basically kind of want all of this, right? And we're going to remove that templating because that's not how we're doing things. Oops. Whoa, what the... How did we get to that file? I hit some sort of strange... I hit some sort of strange command there. Okay, anyway, let's yank that to a clipboard. And then head back to our MediaWiki, right? Vim ingress.yaml. Right. So we don't need that. We will want the service name at some point. We're going to remove all these templates, right? Because we're not going to be using them. So we don't want that. We don't want TLS configuration on our ingress. We're going to need the service name, but that's fine. So let's just grab these out of... what have we called them? We just got to name them similarly and put them in a namespace. Namespace is going to be MediaWiki. I think that's what we... kubectl get pods names. No. Get pods. Yeah, single dash. Yeah, right, there we go. Oh, it's running, but it's not ready. I wonder why that is. I wonder why. Let's describe that one. See why it's not ready yet. I've had some issues. That's false. It definitely has a... Oh, right. Describe pod. Pods. Readiness probe failed. Status code 500. Connection refused. Liveness probe failed. Index.php. We may have to have a little squeeze into that container if the liveness probe failed, or if anything really failed. Do we have PVCs? Yeah, looks like PVC's got provisioned. Kubectl get PVC dash n MediaWiki. Yep, got those. They're all bound. what about yeah, interesting. That liveness probe failed. Why did that liveness probe fail? And how the hell are we gonna bloody figure out what's wrong with it? Status code 500, right? Was the service unavailable? Can we map that port? That's probably what we need to do, right? We probably need to map that port to the local and then see what we can see. So let's just look up. Ooh, that's my dashboard again. Let's look up what we can look up. Well, it's not there now, is it? No. Kube control map port. There's definitely a way to do this. I've seen this in documentation. Port forwarding to access applications in a cluster. That's what we want. So kube control, yeah, that's fine. Forward local port to a port on the pod. That's what we want. Oh man, there's like a trillion ways to do this. Alright, cool. Let's do that. So, kube control, get pods and media wiki. So list our pods, or in fact, list our services. Get service. Right. And so we want to do kube control. What's the command? Port forward. Straightforward. svc slash media wiki, and we want to map. Let's do the HTTPS port 32657 to our, now is it local and then is it local and then host? It's usually host and then I guess we'll find out in a second. Oh, look, let's just put it to 32657 and then we don't have to worry. Oh. Gotta always provide that namespace. Does not have a service port 32657. 32657. Is it actually on 443? 11111? No, it's the other way around. So our 3265, let's just put it on 11111, is going to become their 443. Right, okay, that seems to be working. Alright, let's have a look at a localhost. Hold on. Empty response. That's not working. Oh. Connection refused? Alright, let's not try the SSL port, let's try the regular HTTPS port. Sorry, HTTP port. Let's try again. It doesn't like that either. Because the service is not ready. I mean, we have to hop inside the we can hop inside the container, but I would have thought any of the above commands works. But should we actually be trying to connect to the pod directly? I think we actually want to connect the pod directly. Kube control describe pods -n media wiki. Back off restarting failed container. Interesting. So it's running there. Are there ports? Oh. Wait, is that MariaDB not running either? Can't connect to local MySQL through socket. MySQL is running. Failed scheduling. Okay, it's scheduled. Pulled, started, unhealthy. Readiness probe failed. It doesn't fill me with confidence. Man, it's been a fucking evening of failures, hasn't it? Also, just give me just 1 second. I'm just gonna go check on the food. Apologies again. Cooking while streaming is clearly not the best idea, but here we are. Just give me, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Alright, I am back for those of you playing it along at home. The food is looking reasonably good. It's probably not quite as tender. I'm cooking some beef short ribs. I really need them to get very, very tender, otherwise it's going to be a bit difficult to eat. But they are there, and look, they're going. They haven't burned. I just turned up the heat a little bit, so hopefully they cook a bit. They cook a little bit quicker. Okay, well look, alright, we've ran into a bit of a snag here, which is that it seems like neither of these pods are actually starting properly, which is not great. Yeah, it's a little frustrating. We're going to have to troubleshoot a little bit. It's definitely running on port 3306. Wonder if we can, you know what we can probably just Docker logs, right? Docker, oh sorry, not Docker logs, kube logs, kube control, get pods -n media wiki just to get their names again. Kube control, get kube control logs. This guy, because MariaDB is not working. You set the environment variable allow empty password. Yes. Do not use this flag in a production environment. Cool. We're not in production, so no worries. Initialization parameters. Password's not shown. Well, I mean, that all looks pretty fine. The liveness and the readiness probes failed, but scroll back through my history here. This is, yeah, right. So, MariaDB, liveness and readiness, okay, that's fine. And then the last log entries are warning unhealthy, readiness probe failed. And then the liveness probe, they've both failed, but it says it's ready. Did they just fail for a period of time? Oh, maybe they just failed for a little bit and now they're ready. Maybe it just took a little while to boot up. Whereas down here, it's doing its back off thing, but what does it say up here? It says unhealthy times 2 over 15, 40. I guess we can connect to it or something. How do we browse MariaDB? As a port exposed. Can we browse MariaDB? I guess we can. Browse MariaDB. That's just MySQL. MySQL admin. Yeah, agreed, Xenocron. Yeah, that's what you need to do, but I've got the resume hook in there, and then it just doesn't work. I think I need to use persistent volume labeling because I think it can't find the persistent volume. It can't find the what we were talking about the other day. Those persistent volumes, persistent device labeling. Sorry, I think it can't find the device that I've given it on boot. But I feel like I already did that and it still didn't work. So yeah, something to try down the line. But yeah, definitely attempt to get it working because it is super, super useful. I want MySQL Workbench. Is that what we need? Is it free? Does it run on Linux? It probably does. Let's just look. Launch Linux. MySQL Workbench. Oh yeah. So SQL Workbench. Oops, that's not the right spelling. Workbench. One more time with feeling. Alright, cool. Let's install that bad boy. Thank God for fast internet over where I am. No, I need it. Just do a system. I'm not going to actually do a system update. I'm just going to like update my mirror list. Oh, something's gone wrong. So one of my mirrors is clearly failing. That US West mirror zoidplex.net. I'm getting a very slow. Yeah, hopefully installing these packages isn't a nightmare because I'm getting slow bloody mirrors. That would be very frustrating. I can, or Xenocron, you run Arch. Do you have a Pacman mirrors like updating script that runs? Like I've got something called Reflector, but I can't remember whether I ever made a systemd hook to actually update it at startup or something. You should just be able to install it now. No, it's still trying to get that Zoidplex mirror. That's okay. Eventually. Hey Slayer Darth, how's it going? Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate your time. Let me know if you want a little recap of what we've been doing, other than epically failing. Yeah, okay, you do it manually. Yeah, that's probably fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I've just seen various solutions for doing it automatically, just because I tend to get frustrated when my mirrors are really slow because I'm like, well, and for instance, right now, oh yeah, no worries. I'll just give me a sec. Right now, look at this, is going at like half a megasecond. My connection is a lot faster than that. So Slayer Darth, what we've been doing is I was attempting to write a Helm chart, which is a package management system for Kubernetes to deploy Wiki.js, which is like a JavaScript-based wiki service to my home server to use as a wiki. And I got started, and I was all excited, and I was making good progress, and then I hit a huge brick wall, which is that Wiki.js doesn't follow the 12-factor app principle of putting all your configuration in environment variables. So I got to the point where I was like, okay, well, how am I going to hook up Wiki.js to its dependent MongoDB service? And I was like, crap, it just has a config file that you stuff in, which totally ruins everything I was trying to do. So I basically gave up on that, and now in the last 15 minutes I'm going to try and get MediaWiki. In fact, I could probably go a little longer than 15 minutes. I'm trying to get MediaWiki installed using a Helm chart. So I've done the installation, but the actual services for some reason aren't starting. So if we have a look at kubectl get pods -n MediaWiki, right? I've deployed the pods. There's a pod that runs MariaDB, and there's a pod that runs the actual MediaWiki. And the MariaDB one is supposedly running. I'm just going to double check that it actually is running. But this one is not. It's going some crash loop. So if I can verify that this is working, then I can sort of hop into, actually, why don't I, actually no, let's just save some time. Let's actually just get the logs of this and see if we can figure out why it's crashing, because that could save us a whole bunch of time. Even though I just did install that little MySQL client. Okay. Well. Error executing post-installation file opt bitnami MediaWiki local settings of PHP is not a file. Well, now we have something to Google. Let's see if that works. Yep, cool. I wonder if it's to do with... No, that looks fine. Same error. Did anybody resolve it? Still fail. Choose the wiki name. Oh, did I choose a bad wiki name or something? Maybe the wiki name shouldn't have spaces. Interesting. Oh yeah, no, that's what we want. These are the same issues. Oh, hang on, no, this is one specific to Docker. That's exactly what we want. Okay. No, that's not it. exception. Settings.php. I feel like we were kind of close, maybe. Are we on an old version of... What version is it set to pull? Let's have a look at that MediaWiki Helm chart and see what version it's supposed to... Maybe we should... maybe... 1.0.2. Let's have a look at our GitHub source. Plays.yml 1.30.0. Okay. Let's have a look at Bitnami MediaWiki Docker. Let's have a look at Hub. Yeah, what's the latest version? Maybe we just need to update that to the latest version. You'll get to see how damn easy it is to update to a later. It is the latest. Maybe we should. 2 hours ago. Shit. Let's just roll back. No, but it is the latest. It's only 2 hours ago though. That's bleeding edge. That's definitely easy enough that it could be an error in there. Let's go 129. Is there a stable? There's latest. Yeah, it's installed. Nothing but a lurker. Like MediaWiki is installed, but it's not launching properly. Like it's completely misbehaving. It seems to be crapping out. I wonder if. So I'm thinking, yeah, potentially we install an older release. Like, what if we go? It seems like the immediately preceding release was maybe. Well, let's go back a little bit. Let's err on the side of caution. It's not functioning, no. So you can see if I do a kube control, you can see here it says crash loop backing off. Delete it and move on. Yeah, look, I mean, maybe. I guess that's one option. I could try the other wiki service that's on Helm. But look, I'll give this a go. I'll give this a go. Let's go back to a previous stable version. Are these all unstable versions? Or do I just get the latest R release of the previous version? I might do that. I might get the latest release candidate release of the previous version. So 1.292 release candidate 1. That seems like it'll be a good idea. Or actually, let's go over the repo info. Let's actually go to the source. Thank you, nothing but a lurker. I appreciate that. Releases. Okay, that'll give us a good idea. Right. Release R4, R2, R1, R0, 129.2, R1. Okay. Yet to see some Twitch for project management. That would certainly be a bloody interesting idea. Alright, I think we can just edit our config YAML, and I think we can just say we want to use image.tag instead of what we have currently. We're going to have to go image tag, and then we're just going to use this version that we pulled out of here. So 129.2 R1. Let's just see if that works. I don't I don't know about that. And I'm very flattered that you know that you can even remember what I was doing with my thesis, or that you've had a look at it. Yeah, I've definitely encountered some good and some bad management. It would certainly be fascinating. So yeah, it would certainly be very interesting. All right, let's do a Helm. So look at how easy it is to upgrade this. We just do Helm upgrade, and then I think I have to do name MediaWiki namespace MediaWiki config YAML, and then I also have to do stable / MediaWiki. Oh no, you don't need the dash name flag, you just do a namespace. Look how easy this is. So I'm just basically saying take this new config file and upgrade it, and it's just going to tell me what it's doing. It's been upgraded, like bam. And you can see in here it's it's done a diff. It said, well, the only thing that's changed is this MediaWiki container, right? It needs to change. It's basing off a new version, so it's terminating the old one, creating a new one, and we're in business. So let's hope that works. Get pods-n MediaWiki. So we should see it. Well, thank you. Okay, I will try and stop with the negativity. I appreciate the I appreciate the encouragement. And yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, I should stop being quite so negative. We can learn anything we want as long as we try hard enough. Basically, yeah, it seems right. Kube control get pods-n MediaWiki. All right, container creating. We're just going to keep running this. Oh, it's running! Except it's not ready because it's probably going to fail its liveness probe in about a second. That's all right. Describe pods. Yeah, okay, so this is probably the same as what it says. It probably means that the same problem persists, but that's okay. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Mr. Lurker. I'm glad you enjoy my instruction and explanation style. Yeah, it's something, you know, I did tutor for well, not many years, but a few years certainly when I was in university, so I sort of got a little bit of that from there in terms of explanation, but thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. That's sort of what I'm trying to go for. Actually just, it's back off restarting that failed container. Actually just submitted earlier this week my first, oh, I'm glad you think I go at a nice pace as well. It's all really good feedback. I really appreciate that, guys. I actually submitted my first proposal for a conference talk this week. I'm going to be on sort of DevOps. The title, I think, is what every full stack developer needs to know about DevOps. So fingers crossed it gets accepted. We'll see. It's for Levels Conf happening in Melbourne sort of later in the year. One of the organizers reached out to me on Twitter and said, hey, you know, you should come and you should, if you can, submit a talk proposal, and so I did. So we shall see. But thank you guys. I really appreciate the love. Really feeling the love. Appreciate all the kind things you're saying. Yeah, really happy. Thank you. Thank you. It's very kind. All right, this looks like it isn't working. Unfortunately, it's back in a crash loop back off. Let me hit those logs again and see if we're getting the same error. Kube control logs, that guy with the namespace MediaWiki. All right. Oh, something's happening. Hang on. Hold the phone. This seems good. Okay, no. Yes! Is the food burnt, Xenocron? No, the food is not burnt. I'm actually cooking, getting excited now because it seems like it's working. Initializing me. No, damn it! Same error as before. Damn. Okay. Look, good to know. We're getting there. We're getting a little closer, I think. The food is not burnt, so what I'm cooking is, I don't know, and I'm trying to sort of not mix too much food stuff in, but food and drink is a huge passion of mine, and I'm actually semi-seriously considering some sort of food-related live stream channel, YouTube thing, maybe. The only problem is I realize that my kitchen is awful for it. I don't have a big, beautiful island bench like people like binging. If you know food, like Binging with Babish has a huge island bench. The films behind, and it's really easy. I don't think my kitchen is quite that amenable to that. Also, my kitchen is ugly. The joys of renting, but it's very functional. It's, well, big enough for me. And so what I'm actually cooking is a Chef John recipe. Chef John, big YouTube guy. Been watching his videos for literally like 3 or 4 years, pretty much every single one. They're all fantastic recipes. And he put up a recipe late last year for an Italian dish called peposo, which is basically like the terracotta tile workers in the Chianti region would basically use this recipe for like old crappy meat that was like almost kind of going off, right? And in order to cover up that smell, they would cook it in a bunch of wine and like a crap load of pepper. Like, I'm talking like 2 or 3 tablespoons of pepper, crushed lightly, Chef, well, I don't know if he's well, I don't know if he streams. There may be a different Chef John in the Twitch world. He's a YouTube guy, Chef John. Let's just. Also, guys, I think I'm just gonna have to troubleshoot this offline. Unfortunately, I do have to go relatively soon because I've got guests coming. But I might as well just hop over to his YouTube channel. YouTube, give Chef John a little plug. Good old Chef John. Chef John. Food Wishes. Chef John of Food Wishes. I call him Chef John, but oh, it's playing in my ears. I don't need that. Sorry. You probably can't hear that because I think I've got the volume on the PC muted. But yeah, Chef John, great recipe. And so yes, Piposo, which is basically like you. Oh no, I think that's a different Chef John. Nothing but a lurker. Yeah, cooking a recipe from him, which is just like boatloads of pepper, like 2 tablespoons of pepper that you kind of crush up. Like crush as in like just lightly crush. I crush it in a mortar and pestle just to kind of crack the corns open. And then like a few tablespoons of pepper very finely ground, and like a bunch of rosemary, a bunch of sage, some bay leaves, and just cooked in wine for 2 or 3 or 4 hours until it's really tender, which is why I said I went back before and turned it up a little bit, because I don't think it's tenderizing quite as quickly as it should be. It's definitely cooking, just maybe not tenderizing as quickly as I'd like. And so it's not burnt Xenocron. It's looking really tasty. I'm cooking in a big heavy Dutch oven, so it should hopefully burn too easily because it's sort of got that heat distribution. I'm going to serve it over polenta with a bit of wine and some drinks and some good friends. So yeah, cooking, a big passion of mine, huge passion. I'm trying not to bring it into this channel too much because I don't want to distract too much, but a big passion, and it's not burnt. It's smelling really good. It's filling. Just like every time I catch a whiff of it, I'm like, ooh, does that mean it's boiling too hard and it actually will burn? But so far so good, and it smells lovely. Affiliate status, yes sir. I will be applying reasonably soon. As soon as I got to get up to 50 followers. That's the next metric. Other than that, I've jumped through all the other hoops. So for those of you who are unaware, if you want to become a Twitch affiliate, and then you guys can subscribe to me, you have to get to 50 followers. The other requirements are like stream 7 times in a month, tick, have more than 3 average viewers, tick, and stream for more than like 4 hours in a month or something, which also ticked that ages ago. Maybe it's longer than that. Anyway, I'm almost close to affiliate. So yeah, 50 subscribers or 50 followers rather, and I'll definitely do it. I'm keen to do that, keen to keep this channel going. Now, back to the problem at hand. We're still getting this post-installation error. Now, I'm having flashbacks to when I was trying to get Plex working, because there was a similar problem there where it could not create some sort of file. And oh, actually, you know what? We can just yeah. Look, I should be able to still go another. I'll go another 15 minutes, and then I really should stop because my friends are going to be here. But I'm going to connect to that. I'm going to attach to that pod. I'm going to attach to that pod. So let's get the pods. Kube control attach, and then. What do we give it? Kube control attach to container. Get a shell to a running container. That's what we want. Or do we even want kube control exec? Well, you can do it using a. Oh no, it's just a shell demo. Yeah, that's what we want. So we exec actually. We don't actually want to attach. We want to exec. I think attach just lets you view something. I think exec actually lets you run a bash shell inside the container, and we probably want to also pass the namespace, otherwise it's going to complain. -n media wiki. We exited. That's not good. Just bash. Container not found. That. Oh, is it killing? Hang on. Is it backing off and killing them? Yeah, crash loop back off. Let's try again. Alright. Hopefully it comes back soon and we can connect to that container. Or even get media wiki. Let's kill that pod manually. Kube control delete pods, and then that guy. And the pod will come back, right? Get pods. Yeah, right. So it started this one up cool. Before it crashes again, let's try and connect to it. Alright, we're in. Now, what's that file that it complains about? Opt-bitnami, right? Killed it. Damn. Yeah, it's trying to restart it. Describe. What's it doing? Oh, pods. What's it doing? Back off, restarting failed container. 1 second ago. Yeah. That's really annoying. Oh no, hang on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Setup failed to volume. Mount failed. Status failure reason failed to mount volume. Dev RD. Oh. Oh. Kube control get PVC. And media wiki. Okay, right, so that's a bit of a clue because what it's saying is that it failed to mount some particular volume. Does that mean that we've run out of space? Can't have. You got way more space than that on that server. I haven't quite yet, so I know I was probably telling you guys at some point I'm going to get another hard drive. I may well do that tomorrow because I haven't gotten around to it yet. Should be super easy to install on this nice little server because you can just kind of like slide out the drive cages and stick in a new one and it's up and running. I may do that tomorrow to expand the storage by a couple of terabytes. At the moment it's only got the OS is installed on the 256 gig hard drive and there's some storage on another 256 gig hard drive because that's what it came with. Okay, that's interesting. So volume mount failed. Kube control get PV. All namespaces. Fexception, thank you very much. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. Yeah, really appreciate it. Big love. Alright. All those reclaim policies are delete. That doesn't fill me with confidence, but that's fine. So that persistent volumes, it failed to mount one of them. So we mounted that default token one, whatever that is. It failed to mount that PVC EAC 5 D73. Now why did it fail to mount that? Control describe PVC namespace media wiki. Yeah, that all looks pretty good. It's bound, it's provisioned. External provisioner. Maybe that's just a glitch. Describe PVC or get PVC. Get PVC media wiki. They're all bound. Get pods. So it's in a crash loop. Okay, let's just have a look at the logs again. Let's do some more investigation into that error. I think that's probably the way to go. Yeah, post installation local settings.php can't find. Let's go back to our little troubleshooting. And a message popped up. Cannot copy. Let's see. Does not work. add an extension to local settings and have the file in the correct location. I wonder if it doesn't like the fact that I've got spaces in my wiki name. Look, it's always worth a try. I wonder if it doesn't also like, let's just change this to convention. Oh, look, let's change one thing at a time. Alright, let's try this, and let's should remove this because we'll just go off the latest because that didn't seem to fix it. So now you can just do our Helm upgrade. Cool, it's going to restart our container. Control get get pods for MediaWiki namespace. It's creating that one, so we want that to get the logs form. We'll watch the logs come out. Logs MediaWiki. Alright. It's going. Nope. Okay, same problem. Let's try. Let's undo that then. We'll put our spaces back. But let's try no dot in the user. Alright, so we just need to upgrade again. And then let's grab that, and then we'll do logs on that. Control logs, MediaWiki, paste that guy in. Alright, let's let it start up. And look, if this doesn't work, guys, I'm just going to have to call it here. I'm going to have to troubleshoot offline. Frankly, if I have time and it's at an appropriate hour and I'm feeling up to it and I haven't had too many beers later tonight, I may troubleshoot it live. I'm sort of thinking that the last few days I sort of put off, same problem. I sort of put off streaming a little bit because I was like, well, I'm not really in the mood and I want to be engaging and I'm just doing troubleshooting. But frankly, there's probably nothing wrong with me streaming more rather than less. I can definitely probably have latitude to have sort of streams where I'm just troubleshooting stuff and just running you through my sort of process of how I troubleshoot things is probably helpful. And then other streams where it's a little more structured, I'm working on a little more structured work. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I think it'll probably be, what am I doing tomorrow evening? I'm not sure what time it'll be. I may do tomorrow morning. I know that's not good for you Europeans, Xenocron, very sorry, but I may just do tomorrow morning just because it's going to be, it seems like the time that I kind of want to stream, which is like mid-afternoon here, is like the worst possible time. People from Australia can't tune in, people from Europe, it's too early in the morning, and it's probably not great for the US either, so I'm thinking I might just do sort of early tomorrow morning, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to tweet out for sure when I've decided. I've got to look at the time zones. And look, you know, if you see a notification from me later tonight, it'll be because I'm back again trying to troubleshoot this stuff. Look, a bit of a frustrating stream. I hope you guys enjoyed regardless. Had a bit of a false start there with the Wiki.js. Look, maybe I'll go back to the Wiki.js if I can't get this to work, but this seems like a problem that other people are encountering. Maybe I need to... Oh, look, let's try one last... I'm tempted to try one last thing, but if it's going to just keep killing my... I wonder if we can do a... yeah, you've got uni. Yeah, sorry, man. I had uni back in the day. It also felt bad, man. Let's do one last thing. Let me just see if I can run some stuff in this container, if the container is actually running. Where's this? We want to exec this. But instead of bin bash, I just want a cat opt bitnami MediaWiki locals settings.php. I'm just going to try and cat that file and see if it'll work. Where's our container? There's our container. Copy that, paste it. Oops, no, paste. And let's give it a -n MediaWiki. Is the pod up? No such file directory. Alright. that's okay. Let's ls that directory. This is some exploratory because it seems very temperamental as well, I reckon. Okay. So there's no local set. What if I... It's a bit of a bodge, but what if I go... What if I just touch it to create it? Oh, it's killed the bloody container. Ah! Curse you. It's doing that. It's doing some sort of exponential back off where it's trying to kill it and restart it. No, look, you got to try all these things. My number one on the programming list. Well, hey, that's cool. I did actually have I did have a couple of friends say that this sort of time of night was a very good time to stream because there weren't many other people streaming at this time of night, which is probably quite accurate. So yeah, hey, good to know. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm sad that I'm going to be cutting this stream in a few minutes, but yeah. Appreciate the watching, appreciate the support, appreciate everybody making it out. Nothing but a lurker. You're a champion. Xenocron, amazing. Love you. Love all of you guys. Thank you for watching in and tuning in multiple times now. This isn't just some like random dude. You just found me on, you know, Twitch and I popped up. You've come back time and time again, and I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate you giving your time to do that. Let's see. Has it killed this pod or something? No, the pod name hasn't changed. Solid software, by the way. What does that mean? Try to find local start. Yeah, look. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, hang on. I just created it. That is a very good point, though. Let's just see those logs again. Yeah, but it's like it. Yeah, no, you're right. Well, let's do a find on it. Find /-name local star.php. Yeah, good call there. Oh, it's bloody killed the container again, but we'll keep trying until we get it. Oh, well, I'm glad you found it enjoyable, Xenocron. That's really, again, I've been really feeling the love from you guys tonight. Got some awesome feedback, and I really appreciate that. That's what this is all about, is me learning, you learning, everybody learning, and hopefully having a bit of fun. Yeah, look, I'm rapidly getting bored of this, and I've probably been at it for too long. I'm just trying to... Is there anything else in here that talks about... See, this says resolved. Fresh install. Install your wiki in a folder. It's not an issue in... It's not an issue in the repo info, is it? Like there's the source repo. Issues. Didn't miss it in here, did I? Image magic, issue with external database. Update Docker file. Switch base image. Local settings of PHP. Oh, we got a hit. Source skins and stateful partition. Oh, hang on. Whoa. Yes. User expected to modify this file to fine-tune the application. Does that mean I need to make one myself? What tweet is this? I think I do know the tweet that you're referring to, Nothing But a Lurker. I'll definitely have a look at that and I'll get back to it. I'm definitely keen to learn a bit more Go. I'm getting about 1,000 notifications and my uncle just called me, so I'm not sure what that's about. Look, I might call it there, guys. I'm starting, my current working theory is that I actually have to create that local settings.php. I'm going to look into that. Let's just quickly local settings.php media wiki. Oh, talking about not using environment variables. All right. Warning: don't edit. Hilarious. Configuration settings based on the default settings.php. I wonder if, hang on. Wouldn't it be great if I could solve this problem in the last like 5 seconds of the stream? When we did an ls and we saw what things were in there, was there a default settings.php? No, there wasn't. Is there a default settings.php we can grab? Maybe that one. Maybe that one. What if never edit this file? Yes, no, you're right, fexception. It said don't edit with specific things, so I can just edit. I'm sure Vim will be fine. This looks like stuff that it's going to be generating for me. Like site name media, like that's stuff that I've put in my environment variables, which is why I'm wondering, did I fail to specify some sort of like mandatory environment variable, or did I specify it wrong, right? Because I wonder if, and thank you for chatting in the chat, fexception, and thank you for the follow, as I said before. No, see, this all looks pretty straightforward. It doesn't look like I said anything wrong. Maybe I need to... No, that's not it. Maybe I should use... Maybe what they're saying is I should use the default values.yml. Maybe I'm failing to specify environment variables. You would think, though, that I could just... Like it's... You would... Yeah, it doesn't really look like it's... I don't see anything in here that stands out to me as something that I need to override. Yeah, look, I think I'm gonna have to call it there, guys. I'm kind of out of ideas as to how to resolve this issue. Media wiki, there's a problem. No, this is more people. CP local settings file to var www media wiki restart Apache 2. Copy local settings to your media wiki folder and then change the user settings to www data and not root. Yeah, look, I would have expected this Helm chart to work and this Docker container to work, just work off the bat. So if they're not working, I think something's possibly wrong. So yeah, I may have to have a bit more of a look. You'd be getting mad at me? Why would you be getting mad at me? Well, because I'm stumbling around too much in a production environment. Yeah, I'm very puzzled about this as to why I can't, as to why this is not booting up and not obeying my... Yeah. Time is money. Hey. I appreciate that management there, nothing but a lurker. That PM spirit. Yeah. Yeah, look, you're not wrong. Hey, look, nothing but a lurker. I'm gonna find out. Oh no, hang on. Is that our PV that... No, that's not the folder that's getting mounted. Bitnami/MediaWiki, not opt/Bitnami/MediaWiki. Unless... Yeah, look, you're right. There was another cube chart on here. I'm going to have to call it, guys, because I don't want to destroy my food or make my friends. Maybe just DocuWiki? Seems simpler. Maybe? It's also Bitnami, though. So it may well have the same damn problem. But yeah, look, you're right. It is frustrating to install. It is probably going to be a pain in the ass to maintain. all data stored in plain text files. I mean, maybe that's what I want. At Discord, I don't have a Discord channel. Would you like me to set one up? I could definitely do that. That could be fun. If anybody else has any thoughts about that, please let me know. Yeah, look, like I said, I think I'm going to call it there. I'll let you know what I do. If I jump back on and have a play with this further later tonight, I may stream again, but more than likely not. More than likely it'll be tomorrow morning. Thank you for all the love that you've given me today. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Ooh, let's switch back to the big camera view. I've had a great time, even if it was a little bit of fumbling around. I've definitely learned some things. I've learned about maintenance. I've learned that nothing but a lurker loves project management and loves project managing me, and I appreciate the hell out of that. So yeah, we'll see about a future stream. I'll definitely put it out on Twitter and on the Twitch feed. But I do have to head off now, unfortunately. Thank you for watching. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for any follows, any views, any whatevers. I really appreciate that. And yeah, hopefully we can get this sorted next time, because I want to get this wiki up and running. That said, I haven't done any actual coding on this stream in a little while, so I'm thinking if I do stream tomorrow, and again, not sure entirely what time it'll be, but if I do stream tomorrow, it'll probably be, I might do some more light pet work. I'll definitely let people know in the feed, in the Twitch post that I make, and via Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, at Nixco, it's up at the top of the page, right up, where is it? Oh, you can't see my desktop. Up the top. Up, where is it? Love where people is up there, right there. Follow me on Twitter and on GitHub. But yeah, Twitter would be good. And I'll let you know what I'm going to be working on. Thank you as always for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll catch you very, very soon. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.